Chapter 21-22 Ming Clan Imprint. Chapter 21-22 Ming Clan Imprint. After a long time, the glimmer in Long Fei's right arm disappeared. And then, the world returned to normal. The voice sounded again. Ancient inheritance. You are someone from the primordial ancient world? You have the power of the ancient inheritance. He was very excited. It was as though he had met his father. His voice trembled, and it seemed as though he was about to cry. Next, an illusory image appeared in front of Long Fei. A white-haired old man. White hair drags the ground. He must be at least 1,000 years old. Long Fei trembled slightly. The white-haired elder looked at Long Fei without moving, his eyes filled with excitement. Long Fei tightened her chrysanthemum and slightly retreated half a step, saying faintly, "Old man, I am not gay." His eyes were like a gay man meeting his best friend, filled with deep emotions. 1,000-year-old gay man? The white-haired old man asked, "What do you mean by base? Is it a new phrase popular in the ancient world?" Long Fei was startled for a moment, and said, "In short, stay away from me. That won't do. I have to be in a place with people in order to show myself. If I'm too far away from you, I won't be able to sense your aura. Then, I won't be able to show myself." The white-haired old man said seriously. Long Fei's eyes turned cold. "Damn, don't tell me you want to absorb my profound qi." The white-haired old man said, "That's not true. After our Ming clan's soul perishes, as long as we get close to humans, it will take form, and will not harm you guys at all." Ming clan? At first, Long Fei couldn't hear it clearly, but this time, he could hear it very clearly. He asked, "Ming clan, what kind of race is it in the 100,000 planes?" His father was the king of hell. Logically speaking, he should be the Ming clan. However, Long Fei had never heard of the white-haired elder claiming to be a Ming clan. The white-haired old man laughed faintly. "It's normal for you not to have heard of it, because we don't belong to this world. In the end, the 100,000 planes you mentioned just now was a world created by our Ming clan." Creator? Long Fei was shocked. Looking at the white-haired old man, he couldn't believe it. The power needed to create 100,000 planes was extraordinary. At least, in Long Fei's opinion, this was definitely not possible. The old man laughed. "You can say so." Long Fei said in disdain, "Since you are the creators of this world, then why did you fall to such a state?" The white-haired old man's smile immediately retracted, as if he was talking about his sore spot. He let out a long sigh and said, "The Ming clan is getting stronger, even if he was once the supreme ruler of the universal large world, but, in the end, he was still defeated by the God's tribe." Another God's tribe has come? Long Fei did not understand at all. Right now, he only had a question: how was he going to get out of here? He still had to find the ancient entry. Long Fei said, "Let's not talk about that for now. Let me ask you, is there an exit here?" The white-haired old man wanted to tell Long Fei some more about the Ming clan and God's tribe. These things happened billions of years ago. The white-haired old man saw that Long Fei was not interested, and said, "The 6 hell formation was broken by you, Soul Demon clan of the Seal have left, there are no more exits here." However, Long Fei said, "Quickly speak." The white-haired old man smiled faintly, and said, "If you are willing to listen to me finish talking about Ming clan and God's tribe, I might be able to tell you of the other exit." F***CK. Old man, do you like to tell stories that much? Long Fei was speechless. The white-haired old man looked at Long Fei, and said seriously, "Think of it like I'm telling a story, and maybe one day I'll be able to help you." Following that, the white-haired old man began to talk non-stop. Anyway, he started to describe how his Ming clan was invincible, and invincible, standing at the peak of this world, giving birth to countless powerhouse. The reason why the Ming clan was so powerful was because he had obtained the inheritance power of the ancient world. When they became the overlords, the ancient world gave birth to a new inheritance power. This inheritance power was called Heavens. The God's tribe was born. The appearance of the God's tribe began to rise like a storm, threatening the position of the Ming clan in the universal large world. This led to a war between the two races. In the end, Ming clan was defeated and expelled from Universal Large World. Long before the appearance of the God's tribe, the almighty powerhouse had already predicted that the Ming clan would face a calamity and sent 100 peak-level powerhouse to search for the origin plane, at the same time creating a plane. The Ming clan was defeated and shattered into pieces. After being expelled from the Universal Large World, another group of people came. He established the underworld sect here. However, when they were creating this plane was born, and inside it was a powerful force. When they wanted to explore this force, they immediately killed all the disciples of the Ming clan, and the entire sect of the underworld was frozen in an instant, turning into the current polar region. None of the Ming clan's disciples survived. Only he was able to survive, but he was never able to leave. He could only use the Ming clan's super force of Ming clan to break his soul and protect this place forever. Finished? Long Fei asked. The old man laughed. I'm finished, my story is finished. The old man looked at Long Fei with interest again, and said slightly, however, your story has just started. What do you mean? Long Fei asked. The white-haired old man said, ever since the two ancient inheritance S-powers appeared in Universal Large World, all sorts of inherited powers started appearing, to improve the entire universal world. But all of the inherited powers are basically controlled in the hands of the God's tribe. The entire universal world can be said to be controlled by the God's tribe. The power that you released just now was the mark of the ancient inheritance, and this power will change your entire life. At the same time, you will also be endlessly hunted down by the God's tribe. However, kid, there is a reason behind every single piece of ancient inheritance choosing a host. The fact that it chose you means that you can improve the universal world even more. Perhaps you are the one who toppled the entire God's tribe. What God's tribe? What Ming clan? What ancient strength? Stop talking, hurry up and tell me where the exit is. Long Fei said impatiently. He had to go to the universal world. As for the God's tribe, all in all, it was fine as long as she didn't provoke him. If he messed with them, not to mention the God's tribe, even the Heavenly King clan would do it. Dried death, dried pregnancy. The old man smiled. There is one more thing. Long Fei said, can you not be so long-winded? The white-haired old man said, ha ha ha. When this matter is over, I will tell you about the exit. Long Fei said, hurry. The white-haired old man walked around Long Fei, and as he spoke, his eyes flashed, and with a twitch of his right hand, a searing power landed on Long Fei's left arm. Ding! Long Fei, you bandit return bandit. Long Fei, you bandit return bandit, the system suddenly sounded out. At the same time, Long Fei's left arm stung. Long Fei took a deep breath. He did not listen to the system's voice, but retreated abruptly and asked, what is it? The white-haired old man said, this is the mark of our Ming clan. When you see the Ming clan in the future, you will naturally know. Ming clan's mark? It was also at this time. The system's voice resounded in Long Fei's mind. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ming clan's mark. It was just a prompt. Long Fei opened up the system to check. He did not notice the existence of anything. It was as if he had disappeared. Long Fei said, is the Ming clan mark only seen by people from the Ming clan? The old man replied, yes. Long Fei said, is there no other use? The old man was surprised. What do you want? Ming clan mark. Ancient imprint. In the universal large world, every single warrior wanted to obtain this ancient imprint because every single ancient imprint contained this power. An incomparably powerful force. This ancient mark was much stronger than the 100,000 9-star main artifact. However, Long Fei was currently not far from being able to compare to him. Long Fei laughed wickedly. At least give me a little bit of power that can't die. Your Ming clan's ancient inheritance, Ming, should not die, right? Just give me this power. I want something else too. Ancient inheritance, obscure, death. If he could obtain this power inheritance, he wouldn't die either. His father, Long Zhanting, was the king of hell. If he could give his father the power of this inheritance, his father's cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. The white-haired elder did not know whether to laugh or cry. Undead power? Sigh. The white-haired old man sighed, and said, "The undead power is too weak, it is impossible to enter the Ming clan's mark, it is the weakest existence in the superforce of Ming clan." All right. The story was told and the Ming clan imprint was given. "You should leave." The white-haired old man said, "Aren't you going out? There is an exit deep within Dark Hall, and it leads to the place you want to go. Kid. Remember, keep your fearless heart. Go to the universal world and fight for supremacy there. That is your world." Finished. The old man's figure slowly disappeared. Long Fei was startled. "Holy shit, it's a fearless heart again, what's going on? Why do you all want me to maintain my fearless heart? What is a fearless heart?" Long Fei muttered on the spot, and called out, "Old man? Old man?" He disappeared so quickly. "It's good that he's gone. Heh. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. "Give me a Ming clan imprint or something. I can't even sense any power, and you're even leaving a burn wound on my arm, ugly to death. Luckily I have hands and feet." Finished. Long Fei walked out of the Kung Fu storage pavilion. The idea moved, releasing the Shu Mi rings, and said faintly, "Receive it for me." The Shu Mi rings moved. A ray of light shone on Kung Fu storage pavilion. Shua. The entire Kung Fu storage pavilion was sucked into the Shu Mi rings. Next. Long Fei walked to the side. Hidden weapon pavilion? It should be filled with weapons, swords, or something like that, right? I'm too lazy to watch it. Come on. The Shu Mi rings then kept the hidden weapon pavilion inside, and then powder storage pavilion, hidden spirit pavilion, hidden origin pavilion. Most of the buildings in the entire Netherworld sect had been taken away by Long Fei. If he did not find the steps to step 9999 too huge and was not in a bit of a hassle, he would have taken that huge plaza and placed it amongst the Shu Mi rings. Seeing how empty it was, Long Fei laughed with satisfaction. This trip was not in vain. While they were talking, Long Fei walked toward the only great hall. The reason why he did not retrieve it was because Long Fei was worried that he would not be able to find an exit. That would be a tragedy. Long Fei entered the palace. A figure was hovering in the air, unsure of whether to laugh or cry. Why would there be such a person? How can such a person be worthy of the ancient inheritance? He's practically a bandit. No, calling him a bandit is insulting the bandit. Even the bandit can't match up to him. Although the white-haired old man was complaining, he was still smiling. Judging from the ancient inheritance power that erupted from Long Fei's body, he knew that Long Fei was definitely not an ordinary person. He believed that Long Fei would be able to cause a huge sensation in the universal world. Maybe he could turn the sky upside down. Ha ha ha. Kid. I can do it, but the rest is up to you. God's tribe. Just wait and see, ha ha ha. The white-haired old man laughed loudly. His body started to tremble, his body started to dissipate bit by bit, all of his energy was injected into the Ming clan imprint. It was his mark. When his Ming clan's mark disappeared, his soul also disappeared. Kid. Don't let me down, you have to turn universal world upside down, you have to, ha ha ha. Buzz. With a light sound, his soul disappeared. The entire world seemed to have fallen into dead silence. As Long Fei walked into the depths of the Great Hall, the 9,999 steps started to fall one by one. They shattered as the gigantic plaza actually wasn't a martial arts training ground, but an underworld stage. It too crumbled. It was the same as losing support. This was the first of 100,000 planes. He was also the creator of 100,000 planes. The Netherworld sect. Where is he? Why did it disappear? Why? After those Soul Demon clan flew out, Long Fei fell into the abyss and it was as if he had disappeared from this world. There was no way to sense his presence at all. Black Robe Destiny God lowered his head, he too did not understand. Those devils are indeed very strong, but Long Fei should not have died in their hands. No. Long Fei's life is mine. His life must be mine. The entire God's mountain trembled. He had been waiting for this chance, but it was clear that Long Fei's aura had disappeared. It made him furious. Huff. Long Fei broke through an ice wall. Following that, a black light shot in. Long Fei's eyes hurt. Black light? Polar darkness? Darkness zone, I'm here? Long Fei walked out of the layer of ice and looked at the darkness in front of him. The dark world was like a huge ferocious beast, swallowing everything in its path. Long Fei became excited. Fuck, I finally got there. Without the slightest hesitation, Long Fei stepped into the extreme darkness, into the 100,000 dimensions, a place that even the main temple would not dare step into, to search for the ancient entry. Amongst the Shu Mi rings, the sudden appearance of the Kung Fu storage pavilion caused Jojo, who was inside, to tremble slightly. With an alluring expression on her face, she walked into the hidden soul hall. Thank you for your support. Chapter 21-24, I realize your dream with my hands. Chapter 21-24, I realize your dream with my hands. Such a huge structure suddenly appeared from within the Shu Mi rings. Furthermore, there were many mountains in the Shu Mi rings in the past, along with the buildings that were just absorbed into the Shu Mi rings. It looked like a sect now. The place Jojo entered was called the Hidden Soul Pavilion. It was the place where the souls of almighty beings were hidden in the Ming clan. At the same time, this was also where soul cultivators resided. Long Fei didn't know that she had entered the Hidden Soul Pavilion. To Long Fei, Jojo had always been the pain in his heart. He had suffered as long as he did and never had a chance to enjoy life. It was with great difficulty that the female emperor finally returned to her position. In the end, she was implicated by him and her soul was taken away. Other than her, there were also Long Fei's other women. Their souls were currently being controlled in Zhong Wushuang's hands. It was unknown if they had reconstituted their bodies like Jojo, or if their memories had been stripped away, leaving them clueless as to who he was. Long Fei did not dare to think about this. The only thing he could do was to open up ancient entry and overthrow it. He trampled Zhong Wushuang to death. That would save them. In the darkness of the polar region, the void was like a chaos world. Even if Long Fei were to become a high god, his line of sight would only be for a few meters. He could only see a blur, as if he was deep within a fog. Buzz. The power of the ancient code on Long Fei's body moved. Not bad. The power of law is still here. This place was not like the polar ice place, where the power of law was suppressed. He exerted his strength. Releasing the power of the sky principle, Long Fei flew into the sky with a single step. 1,000 meters in the air. It was the same. Chaos, fog, darkness, and nothingness, all of which could not be seen in any direction, nor could anything be seen. Here. It was like a different world. There was not a trace of light. There was no sun, no moon, and no stars. It was as though this was an independent plane, a plane that had yet to take shape. Long Fei tried to fly higher, but the result was the same. Sure. Full speed. One thought of 1,000,000 kilometers. However, after flying for half an hour, Long Fei seemed to have stayed still as his surroundings still showed no changes. Damn, did Lousy get lost? Flight is not the way. Long Fei descended from the sky and thought carefully. Leader of White Ape said that ancient entry is the center of darkness in the extreme lands. If that's the case, then the center point would definitely be different. I can't see it clearly from a high altitude, so I can only use my feet to walk. Thank goodness. When Long Fei was putting away the powder storage pavilion S, he took out a lot of outdated pills. Long Fei was currently lacking in holy power value, so he was too lazy to care about the effects of these pills that had been refined for billions of years. He threw them into his mouth one by one like candy, not to mention, they were crispy and juicy. However, the replenishment aspect wasn't too good. The pellets refined by these Ming Clan S did not replenish their holy power value at all. In their era, holy power value was not used at all. The things that are out of date are out of date. I hope you don't let me have diarrhea. Long Fei muttered, then thought of the white-haired old man in Ming Clan, and thought to himself, what kind of clan elder of Ming Clan, what inheritance of superforce of Ming Clan, what war between Ming Clan and God's tribe, I'm afraid all of this is fabricated. He hurried on his way while eating. He walked forward for an unknown amount of time. When he got to the point where his feet were sore, he slightly stopped and looked around, murmuring, It's still pretty much the same around here. Don't tell me I can't get out again. Damn. Long Fei's brows tightened, and the idea moved. Wang. His divine sense spread out. Shua. A surge of power shot out. After a long time, Long Fei sighed, there's still nothing. And then, Long Fei formed her idea and said, scatter. 8 idea flew out and used them to find their way. Long Fei sat down on the ground, and then consumed a large amount of Ming Clan pellets into his mouth, as he muttered, I'm so tired, I've never walked this far in my life. He sat down cross-legged. Long Fei was waiting for the 8 idea S to send a message back. Through the idea's eyes, he discovered that the locations of the 8 great idea were practically all the same. It was also the same as his current location: darkness, void, chaos, fog. There was no way out at all. What's going on? Long Fei secretly locked the space between his brows. How big is the extreme darkness? Is it the same everywhere? Or, I didn't even move. Huff. I have to think of a way. Long Fei's mind moved, he checked the system, and his eyes lit up as he excitedly said, try using the call system. Immediately, Long Fei stood up, the idea moved, activate the call system. Summon at random. Buzz. The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for summoning Li Qing. As soon as he finished, a figure landed, and at the same time, a voice followed, I will use my hands to fulfill your dream. Moreover, he had brought his skin with him. Black dragon skin. Braille Li Qing. Hero Alliance. Long Fei was stunned, blind. Long Fei wanted to summon a person to help him find a way out, to summon a blind person. Isn't this too embarrassing? It was still the blind black dragon. Dressed in black, with a golden dragon on his back, Long Fei felt that he was truly a fortune-teller from a first glance. What a tragedy. Can you not scam me? Long Fei wanted to cry, but no tears came out. I just wanted to find someone to scout for me, that's all. Get me a blind person. System your ass, I only have a son. Li Qing touched it with both hands and said, Master, you don't look very happy. That's not right. It's probably because you sound unhappy. Long Fei said, you're so smart, but you can hear that I'm unhappy, then do you hear that I'm very unhappy? If it was an ordinary day when he summoned out the blind, Long Fei would actually like it. But now, he really couldn't be happy. Li Qing said, I can take care of everything for you. As he spoke his own mantra, his body seemingly ready to dance at any moment. I'll use my hands to fulfill your dream. Long Fei had no other choice. Since he had already summoned them, and he couldn't summon 2 call system at the same time, he could only use one. Long Fei was worried that he would have to lead the blind man away. Huff. Long Fei exhaled, calmed himself down, and said, since you can help me share my worries, then you better let me know the central point of the extreme darkness. Li Qing replied, understood. While they were talking, lifting his right foot, he suddenly shouted, one library. Then he disappeared. What the F***K? Long Fei disdained, he could not even find the 8 idea S that he had released, so how could a blind person find them? He didn't hold out any hope. After the blind man left, Long Fei put him behind, as he thought of another way. It was just that. After half a minute, from the distance, the sound of one library could be heard. It seemed they were fighting. Chapter 21-25 Extremely Abnormal Ancient Demon Beast. Chapter 21-25 Extremely Abnormal Ancient Demon Beast in Long Fei's memories. The blind monk from the Hero Alliance would only let out the sound of one library when his enlargement stroke was at its most broken. The darkness constantly emitted the sound of one cask. If the blind monk was a woman, this sound would most likely be a completely different scene. What's going on? They're fighting. Long Fei's brows tightened, he was simply unable to sense the existence of any demon beast or monsters. How could there be a fight? How big can a blind monk be? Even if it's the infinite firepower, it should have a little cooldown. Was it this blind man who intentionally messed around? Long Fei couldn't understand. He didn't want to care what kind of plane the blind man was on, But right now, he couldn't think of any other way. Helpless, he could only go and see what had happened. Long Fei followed the voice and looked around. One library. Ha! One library. The voice still maintained a certain distance. No matter how Long Fei moved forward, he could not see the blind monk's shadow, just like how he had become a part of the darkness. What the F***ck is this? This was a demonic barrier. Long Fei's method of escape was useless, running was also useless, and even flying was useless. It was just that he could not find the blind monk's location. He was so infuriated that he nearly vomited blood. He could clearly sense the location of the sound, but he just couldn't see the person. It was like two different worlds. Blind one, what are you doing? Long Fei suspected that the blind man was messing around. With his current cultivation level, even the aura of the god of law could still sense him, but he could not sense the presence of any living things around him. Hearing Long Fei's body, the blind man immediately said, "Master, there are so many monsters here. Too much your head. You are blind. Can you see the monster? Aren't you just relying on your feet to kick around? What do you mean by using your hands to achieve your dreams? It's like using your feet." Long Fei started to despise her ruthlessly. Suddenly, Long Fei's mind tightened. Blind man, blind. Could it be? Long Fei's eyes flashed with a light as he immediately closed his eyes. It was still as indistinct as before. That's not right. Long Fei thought deeply in his heart, if the blind man didn't lie to me, that means he can see everything. I can't. Do I have to blind myself? Long Fei did not want to become a blind person shouting the same thing over and over again. And then, Long Fei tried again and closed his eyes. At the same time, his mind, his sea of consciousness, and the eyes of the idea closed at the same time. Buzz. At this moment, Long Fei's world suddenly changed. Surrounding him was a charred land, sharp rocks, and was filled with dense, strange-looking rocks. It's like an alien planet in a science fiction movie. Not far from Long Fei, the blind man was kicking a bunch of monsters. So that's how it is. The corners of Long Fei's mouth drew back as he laughed excitedly. The blade of main god in his hand descended and rushed up to the blind man with a smile and said, "Thank you, thank you." If he had not summoned out the blind, but instead a person with perfect eyes, he would probably have lost himself in the darkness like Long Fei. Li Qing stared blankly, then said, "Master, it looks like you're really happy now." Long Fei replied, "Of course I'm happy." Li Qing said, "Master, you must be careful, these monsters are all extremely strong. No matter how strong they are, they're still monsters." Long Fei shouted. He moved as fast as lightning and slashed the blade of main god in his hand. Shua. Blade chi raged. The knife landed on the monster's body. Flames flew in all directions, and only a shallow cut appeared on the monster's thick armor. It didn't cause any damage. Above his head floated a single MIS. F***ck. Long Fei's eyes trembled. Li Qing had said that the monsters were strong, but he did not take it to heart. However, he did not expect them to be this strong. Even Blade of Main God could not break its defense. Not only that, Long Fei's arm went numb, and the Blade of Main God almost fell off. Looking at the blade in his hand, Long Fei said in a depressed tone, "This main artifact is fake, right? He can't even kill a demon beast." Extremely depressed. These demon beasts were as black as ink and wore black steel armor. They looked like they were alien monsters. This was similar to the steel armor beasts in the dragon coffin cultivation method. However, the powerful body of the steel armor was also killed by Long Fei. These demon beast, its defense was even stronger than the steel armor beast. Could it be? Are they the ancient demon beasts that are protecting the ancient entry? Long Fei's heart sank. Almost everyone who knew of the ancient entry had said so. No one could get through the entrance. The ancient entry was a land of death. No one could break through. In the tens of thousands of years that the main temple had controlled, many people had tried it, but the result of trying was death, eternal disappearance. It was also because of these disappearance that the world knew that no one in ancient entry could connect to them. This also allowed the main temple to rest easy. As long as the battleground was in their hands, their power of law and their highest authority was unshakable. Ancient demon beast. In that case, I am not far from ancient entry. F***ck. Long Fei would never retire. At this time, Li Qing shouted out, "Master, be careful." Voila! A figure tore through the air, and an alien demon beast charged forward. The speed with which it happened was difficult to describe. Long Fei's reaction was fast too, but he was still half a second too slow. He was hit in the chest. Phut! Long Fei's blood tumbled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Long Fei was also sent flying 1,000 meters from the impact. A deep pit was formed on the ground. What a strong injury force. Without waiting for Long Fei to stand up, the void moved. The alien demon beast seemed to have come out of thin air, and instantly appeared in front of Long Fei. Boom! Another bombardment. While he was sick, he needed to take life. This was Long Fei's way of doing things. But now, taking advantage of Long Fei's illness, they wanted Long Fei's life. This alien demon beast was exceptionally fierce, and it did not give Long Fei the slightest chance. Long Fei's pupils tightened as the idea moved. Time is reset. Buzz. With a loud noise, time flowed backwards. The power of law will reset the surrounding time. Long Fei returned to 3 minutes ago. The instant he closed his eyes, his mind, his sea of consciousness, and the eyes of the idea all closed. Break through the darkness and enter the alternate universe. Li Qing felt a little uncomfortable, but he knew that place wasn't right. Seeing Long Fei, it was as if he had seen him before, but he still said, "My lord, this monster is very strong." Long Fei replied, "More than just very strong, simply super strong." Li Qing was puzzled. "How did you know?" Long Fei's forehead was locked tight. This time he did not use the blade of main god, his fists were deep. The system sounded out. Ding! Target locked. In that instant, Long Fei shouted, "Ultimate boxing. I want to see how strong you are." F***ck. He had injured Long Fei severely on his first try. Long Fei could not take this lying down. Hualala. Both of his fists tore through the air, striking down heavily onto the body of the alien demon beast that was attacking Long Fei earlier. "Let's see if you die or not." Alien's demon beast's body trembled slightly. A few English letters floated above his head. Mitts. Chapter 21-26, JoJo Memory Restoration. Chapter 21-26, JoJo Memory Restoration. Miss. The joints of Long Fei's fists looked as though they were about to split. He was completely dumbfounded. Miss. The blasting fist had only dealt 1 miss damage. The heck? Long Fei wanted to die. The blasting fist possessed the power to instantly kill. But now he couldn't even kill a demon beast. This is bad. The blasting fist that I trained in is also fake. Main artifact, Blade of Main God, is fake. The blasting fist is also F***king fake. Long Fei was about to go crazy. He thought that the blasting fist could easily kill the alien demon beast in an instant. Even if they couldn't kill him, could they at least inflict heavy injuries? But Long Fei never thought that he would actually be unable to even break through the defense. Too tragic. How did this happen? How could this be? Long Fei frowned. He could not understand. No matter what, shouldn't blasting fist be seen by everyone in a second? Why is it just an miss injury? Li Qing looked at the dazed Long Fei and shouted again, "Master, be careful." That alien demon beast charged forward once again. Long Fei reacted once again. His reaction speed was even faster than before, but it was still too slow. He was sent flying once again. Smashing into his chest, a mouthful of blood spurted out, smashing into the ground at a distance of 1,000 meters. In the deep pit, Long Fei was still thinking about the loss of the blasting fist, when the alien beast once again rushed out of the air and trampled over Long Fei. F***ck. Again. Long Fei was not convinced. The idea moved. Time is reset. Shua. Time twisted and reset again. When Long Fei arrived in this world again, he just saw the world once more, and time had reset. Time reset. The cooldown for the skills was also reset. Li Qing shook his head at this time. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? That's not right. I am clearly blind. How could I be blind? Why do I feel like this scene is very familiar? While they were talking, Li Qing couldn't help but say, Master, these monsters. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei roared out, You are a scammer, I don't believe it. Power of laws. Fuse. Buzz. The power of killing intent, the power of sky principle, the laws of ice, and the laws of storm had all been forcibly fused into Long Fei's fists. The power in his arms rumbled, twisting around the power of law. Law blasting fist. Ah! Long Fei blasted out again. This time, he was even more careful, incomparably careful, and at the same time that he released his power, he also carefully took a look at the armor the alien's demon beast was wearing, and carefully examined his entire body. Rumble. The blasting fist of the ancient code struck down. Alien's demon beast's body sank. His entire body began to tremble. Long Fei's eyes flashed a ray of light as he became excited. Ha ha ha. This time, you have to. He had not even uttered the word explode. Seeing the numbers that floated above Alien's head, Long Fei wanted to find a hole to hide in. 1 inch 1 point of damage. The heck? This was humiliating Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei didn't even try to defend, he just stood there motionlessly and muttered, Fuck, it's fine if I die. The alien demon beast suddenly charged, once again knocking Long Fei flying. He fell into a deep pit thousands of meters away. Long Fei looked at the dark sky, he felt that his entire life was dark. This is too shocking. Even if I met the god, I wouldn't be able to injure myself this much, right? Why is that? Is the power of law also fake? Your sister. Any of the S just now were instantly killed, but that alien demon beast only dealt 1 damage. His defense was terrifyingly powerful. Just when Long Fei felt that his life was meaningless, Li Qing shouted once again, Master, be careful. Alien demon beast rushed out from the void once again. Long Fei's eyes darkened. He roared again, time is reset. He took a step back and returned back to 3 minutes ago. This time, Long Fei did not attack out of nowhere. Instead, he carefully studied the alien demon beast that were surrounding Li Qing and attacking him crazily. There must be a hood door. There must be a hood door. There has to be. As long as we can find it, we can easily kill it. There has to be. Long Fei was not confident now, he had suffered 3 defeats. It had never happened before. Moreover, his mastery of the laws of time was only on the surface, and the continuous use of time resets prevented him from using them for a certain period of time. In other words, he was missing a life-saving skill. Li Qing shook his head again. Did I see an illusion? My lord, these monsters. Long Fei said, don't talk, focus on fighting. Long Fei was too lazy to listen to him. Oh. Li Qing continued to yell a string of words, then started to kick around. It was the same with his attack. It did not cause the slightest bit of harm. Long Fei studied carefully, not missing a single detail. It was still the same hood door that could not find the alien's demon beast. These aliens' demon beast basically did not have any hood door. His defense was invincible. An explosive attack. Long Fei was depressed. What made him even more gloomy was that Li Qing's time to summon her was almost up. In other words, Li Qing was about to disappear, and the moment he disappeared, the alien demon beast would charge towards Long Fei. If that was the case, Long Fei was about to burp. Young Master Long Fei. I remember. Amongst the Shu Mi rings. When Jojo walked out of the Hidden Soul Pavilion, her eyes recovered and her expression returned to normal. Thinking about what she had done recently, she couldn't help but tear up. I'm sorry, young master. Woo woo woo. The memory of her being extracted from the Hidden Soul Pavilion was completely restored by a powerful soul force. Moreover, Jojo had become different from before. At the same time, Jojo was not in a hurry to call Long Fei. He looked at the Kung Fu storage pavilion and muttered, the cultivation techniques here from the primordial era are all so powerful. If I could learn a bit, I would definitely be able to help young master. The person she would always think of in her heart was Long Fei. Was doing something for Long Fei. Once, now, and in the future. Jojo walked into the Kung Fu storage pavilion and randomly picked out an ancient book to cultivate. God's Mountain. Zhong Wushuang frowned. Black Robe Destiny God asked, "What's wrong?" Zhong Wushuang slightly said, "Nothing." He felt that Jojo had recovered his memories. Zhong Wushuang was extremely unhappy in his heart as he disdainfully said in his heart, "A mere Phoenix Emperor. When the time comes, we'll deal with him together. Long Fei, you won't be able to live for long." In front of him, a huge black stone projection. In the projection, Long Fei stood alone with no help. They fled in panic. Zhong Wushuang smiled coldly, "You're the only one who wants to open up ancient entry. Ha ha ha. You overestimate yourself." Black Robe Destiny God asked, "Are you not going to make a move?" Zhong Wushuang said coldly, "There's no rush, he still has a hidden attack that he hasn't used yet, and furthermore, I actually do hope that he can open up ancient entry now." Ha ha ha. Zhong Wushuang's ambition was incomparably huge. Thank you for your support. Chapter 21-27 Large Alien. Chapter 21-27 Large Alien. Just like what Zhong Wushuang saw, Long Fei was fleeing. He was fleeing in a sorry state. He had tried countless of times, but these alien demon beasts were impervious to fire and water, and had absolutely no weakness. No matter how strong the attack was, it would only be able to deal single-digit damage to him. There was nothing he could do. Right now, Long Fei only had two moves that he did not use. One was the Dong Huang Clock. After that was the power of the darkness and the ancient fire soul. The power of the darkness could only be used on an individual person. Even if it could kill an alien demon beast, it could only be used on an individual person. And the other 100? Without holy power value, Long Fei could only wait for death. Ancient fire soul also couldn't move carelessly, he had to maintain the temperature of his body. Once the soul bestowing soul power was released, this absolute zero in the extreme darkness would probably freeze him instantly. As for the Dong Huang Clock, the feeling he gave Long Fei was also useless. These alien demon beasts were ancient monsters. Long Fei felt that they were not living beings on the surface at all. Otherwise, under the power of main god, everything would be like ants. How could they not be killed? Unless they were beyond the control of 100,000 planes. It wasn't restricted by any of the powers of the 100,000 planes. This was also the reason. The power of the ancient code was useless to them, as was the power of main god. All in all, it was just two words, useless. Are you sure you can't get through? Is there really no other way for the ancient entry? Long Fei thought as he ran, his mind was about to explode. There must be a way. If you think of this as a game, with one of the boss levels, then there's definitely a way to break it. Every game has a loophole in their settings. As long as you find it, you'll definitely be able to clear it. Long Fei started to analyze in his heart. No game is perfect. There must be a loophole. If the loopholes weren't in them, wouldn't that be somewhere else? A certain mechanism? Somewhere. Long Fei thought. He liked violence more and did not like using his brain too much. However, he was being chased by these alien demon beasts until he pissed his pants, and was unable to get any more violent. He could only use his brain to think. Roar! Alien demon beast entered the void. Without waiting for Long Fei's reaction, he suddenly appeared in front of him. Shua! The air distorted, and he directly collided with it. His speed was as fast as lightning. Long Fei's eyes tensed up, his body suddenly sank, and said, "Fall." It suddenly dropped down. He directly landed on the ground and said, "The ancient entry is right in the center of the area, it's definitely a formation, there's no doubt that we're living in a special place, maybe when we go there, the alien demon beast will not chase us anymore." And then, Long Fei landed on the ground, avoided the impact and ran in the opposite direction. The alien demon beast madly chased after him. If Long Fei had not grasped the sky principle, he was sure that he would have died a horrible death. Even the god's immortal BDS would not be able to save him, and he would still die after reviving. Hoo! Hoo! The strong winds howled, Long Fei's speed was raised to his limit. Those alien demon beasts also increased their speed to their limit as they pursued relentlessly. The consumption of holy power value was just too great, and it was even more impossible for Long Fei to use his hidden strength right now. 3 minutes later. Long Fei was startled. That place should be the center of the extreme darkness. F***CK. I'll forcefully open it. Since Long Fei could not find a way to deal with these alien demon beasts, he could only fight to the death. Not far from him was a huge square. There was a stage in the center of the plaza. There were grooves all around the arena, as well as carvings of symbols. The place was densely packed like a huge 8-trigram formation. This was an altar. It must also be a place to open the entrance. This is absolute. As long as the altar was activated, the ancient entry might be able to activate it. Of course. All of these were Long Fei's guesses. Looking at the large group of alien demon beast around him, Long Fei shouted in a deep voice, "Come, chase me if you F***king ever again." Bam! He stepped onto the altar. It was also at this time. The alien demon beast suddenly stopped and stood at the edge of the altar, not daring to enter at all. It was as if a force was firmly blocking them. Ha ha ha. So it's like that. Is this your weakness? Seeing that they did not dare to enter, Long Fei immediately smiled. His heart relaxed, and he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Come on, don't you like bumping into me? Come on. Long Fei had a cheap expression. Those alien demon beasts were incomparably angry, as they bared their long fangs, wishing that they could swallow Long Fei whole. However, they did not dare to take even half a step forward. The altar was a sacred place, and ancient demon beast of their level had no right to enter. Long Fei kept teasing them, and only after making sure that they did not dare to enter did he heave a sigh of relief. This is the first time a few demon beast have chased me like this in such a F***king mess. Just when he felt relieved, a cold breath behind him breathed on his back. His heart turned cold. Long Fei secretly cursed in his heart, damn it. Carefully, his body slowly stood up and the hidden strength on his right arm faintly moved. He slowly turned around and looked at the enormous creature not more than half a meter away from him. Standing in front of him was a gigantic alien demon beast. It was 10 times bigger than the alien outside the altar, and standing in front of it, Long Fei was like an ant. A cold and sinister breath landed on Long Fei's face, and Long Fei felt as if he was about to freeze over. If not for the ancient fire soul's power protecting him, Long Fei would already be an ice sculpture. This is it. Long Fei complained in his heart. He had initially thought that the alien demon beast outside were adult demon beast, but he didn't think that they were just some cubs. If a baby is so strong, then what about this large alien? Wasn't it a strong explosion? No wonder everyone said that no one in ancient entry could open it. It was no wonder that the ancient giant would give up all hope. He didn't open up the ancient entry in the extreme lands, but was fleeing the extreme lands. So that's how it is. It was a little late for Long Fei to think of all these now. 2 huge eyes stared at Long Fei, who let out a small breath. Fuck, even if I die, I will drag you down with me. This big guy was very powerful. However, this guy didn't have a boss aura on him. In other words, he wasn't a boss and the real one had yet to appear. How strong was that? However, Long Fei could not care less. Long Fei could feel the killing intent from the large alien's cold eyes. The first strike is the strongest. Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes opened wide, and the dragon-shaped mark on his right arm flickered with a ray of light. Following that, he released the power of the darkness and shouted out, "What are you looking at?" Boom! A loud sound echoed out. It was an explosion. It covered the large alien's entire body, and everything on its body was sealed by 0. The power of the darkness was the power of the shadows, and it was effortless enough to seal the large alien. Long Fei raised his sleeves, and with a move of the blade of Main God in his hands, he hacked down fiercely. Another one more arrogant. Chapter 21-28, JoJo's One Strike Kill. Chapter 21-28, Jojo's one strike kill. He had to force himself into a corner. Since he couldn't bear it any longer, he no longer had to. Long Fei really had no other choice. The power of darkness was his last card. Once released, the holy power value would be depleted. The most he could do, as a mage without any mana, was to use his staff to attack. Long Fei was currently in this state. Of course, he had dual cultivation in battle. His physical body was not weak, and his strength was not small either. The blade of main god slashed down crazily. Without any form of defense, the large alien could only allow Long Fei to strike it down. Red-colored numbers continued to float above its head, and its HP was rapidly dropping. However, Long Fei began to worry. When he released his hidden strength, his holy power value was not even half a step away. In this situation, the power of the darkness could not hold out for long. Once the large alien recovered its strength, one move would be enough to send it to the heavens. He had to explode it before the power of Zero Seal disappeared. Long Fei used all of his strength and attacked like a madman. 192,932, 212,002, 182231. The number of damage figures continuously rose. For the initial single-digit damage output, the current damage was not an explosive display, but an explosion. Long Fei fell into a state of madness. He wanted to trade the main artifact or the power of the ancient code for something that could increase attack speed, such as a red cross or an electric blade. What he wanted was attack speed. Faster, faster, faster. Long Fei struck out like a torrential storm. The large alien's health was also rapidly decreasing, and its blood trough was gradually becoming empty. Long Fei saw a ray of hope. As long as I kill him, I might be able to level up with his experience. Even if I don't level up, I can still recover a large amount of my holy power value. Definitely. Hurry up. Kill him. Long Fei did not stop, and continued with his berserk attacks. Seeing that his health was about to run out, Long Fei was incomparably excited. Explode, explode, explode for me. If I get something out, maybe it can help me get to these alien demon beasts' weakness. At that time, all must die. Long Fei's eyes were bloodshot. He was incomparably excited. Looking at the last few drops of blood in the blood groove, which could be killed with a single punch, Long Fei laughed wildly. Ha ha ha. Die for me. At this moment, the power of the darkness disappeared from the large alien's body. Long Fei's pupils shrank rapidly as all the strength in his body burst forth. Holding the sovereign's blade tightly in both hands, he struck it down. I must succeed. I must. Buzz. A powerful explosion rang out. Long Fei's arm went numb, and the blade of main god fell off immediately. He fell down from the sky and continuously retreated, looking at the top of the large alien's head with both eyes, and thought in his heart, "Old master, complain." This attack only required 10 damage to instantly kill the large alien. As long as it dealt 10 damage, damage started to float above the large alien's head. 4 red letters, MITS. At this moment, Long Fei wanted to die. A stream of energy crushed through the air and came over. Hualala. Hualala. The world trembled. Splitting. The air continued to crack as heavenly tribulation thunderous sounds resounded. Fury burned, burning crazily on the body of the large alien. In that instant, he went crazy with rage as the pitch-black armor over his body turned into the color of flames. Rage. His body sank, and he was sent flying. Blazing thunder. The impact of the meteors was like the collision of meteorites. This power. Long Fei stood in his original position. He had no way of dodging, and even more so, no way of fighting. He used all of his strength, but it was still impossible. The large alien was too ferocious. I never thought I'd die here. Not even a body. Long Fei laughed bitterly. Seeing the flames pouncing towards him, Long Fei loosened his hand slightly and the blade of main god fell from his palm. His strength could not cause the slightest bit of damage. It was completely useless. If he couldn't even break through the defense, how could he kill him? He was unwilling. However, so what if he was unwilling? This world talks about strength. Long Fei's face turned red, his fists clenched tightly as he roared out, I'm not willing. The ancient fire soul slightly moved. At this moment, without waiting for Long Fei to react, a beautiful figure descended with a strange weapon in her hands. At the same time, he also released a strange power. Long Fei had never seen such power before. At this moment, the two forces collided. Buzz. Like a nuclear explosion, it shot out left and right, causing the heaven and earth to tremble. The figure stood in place without moving, and the large alien did the same as well. The sounds of explosions still echoed in the air as the two of them stood there as if time was not allowed. After a few seconds, the large alien's body started to crack and explode. Following that, its body started to crack, as though it was split by thousands of sword chi. The scarlet armor returned to its original black color. Crack, crack, crack. Its gigantic body began to collapse piece by piece, just like a robot breaking down. Finally, he stared at the lady before him, and his eyeballs also split open, bursting out a pile of green liquid. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ancient Alien Demon Beast for obtaining 1 billion experience, 1 billion holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, God level, 5, nothing dropped. Long Fei didn't care about it either. He didn't even listen to what the large alien had to say, but just stared at the beautiful figure in front of him with a dumbstruck expression. He was a bit agitated and even his words trembled a little. Ciao, Jojo, Jojo, is that you? Jojo suddenly turned around. Two big black eyes looked at Long Fei. There was no longer that kind of ruthless killing intent in his eyes, and his body no longer emitted that kind of cold aura. He was exactly the same as Jojo before. Jojo's tears rolled in her eyes, she bit her lips to hold herself back, and in the end threw herself into Long Fei's embrace. Young master. Just by calling him young master, Long Fei would be willing to die. Long Fei was beyond excited, and she also hugged Jojo tightly in her embrace, saying, Jojo, you're finally awake, you're finally well. Long Fei's heart was filled with pain. Jojo said, I'm sorry young master, I. Long Fei said, the one who said he was sorry should be me. Jojo sobbed lightly on Long Fei's shoulder. Long Fei lightly patted her back, and said, all right, don't cry anymore. Oh right, how did you regain your memories? Jojo stared blankly for a moment before replying, I entered the hidden soul pavilion, then for some reason, after I entered, a soul fragment entered my body, and then all of it sounded. Hidden soul pavilion? Long Fei's heart trembled. Ming Clan's soul concealment pavilion? Not only to awaken memories. Jojo's martial strength seemed to have exploded, the attack just now was too powerful. That move you used just now was also learned from the inside. Long Fei looked at Jojo and asked very seriously. Chapter 21-29, The Unparalleled Tragedy Long Fei. Chapter 21-29, The Unparalleled Tragedy Long Fei. The buildings of the Netherworld sect were filled with all kinds of ancient books and weapons. Long Fei had only entered the Kung Fu storage pavilion before. However, without waiting for him to flip through any ancient books, he was stopped by the white-haired old man. After that, he no longer cared about Kung Fu storage pavilion. In short, he didn't quite believe what the white-haired old man said. Seeing Long Fei's serious expression, Jojo also replied seriously, later on, I went to the Kung Fu storage pavilion and casually practiced a cultivation technique. I never thought that it would actually have such a great power. Young master, which sect left those Shu Mi rings s? In the memories of my Phoenix imprint, even 100,000 planes would not be as powerful as the techniques of that sect. I took a closer look. I have never heard of any of those arts in the Kung Fu storage pavilion. It seems like they are from another world. Phoenix imprint. The imprints that the Phoenix Emperor S had recorded countless of things. The prosperity of the 100,000 planes, the strength of the sects, the secret arts, all of these were recorded in the Powerhouse S. It could be said, Jojo was the encyclopedia of 100,000 planes. If even she didn't know, that could only mean one thing, that the white-haired old man was right. They were the Ming clan. The Ming clan that was driven out of the universal large world. Long Fei was secretly excited in his heart, and said ecstatically, "We're rich, we're really rich this time, ha ha ha." While they were talking, Long Fei heavily kissed Jojo on the forehead. Jojo's face was flushed red, her head lowered, her face flushed red like water dripping from water. She did not dare look up at Long Fei, as she even forgot the answer she wanted to know, and said softly, "Young master." And then, Long Fei entered the Shu Mi Rings Kung Fu Storage Pavilion. "I'm here." Long Fei entered the Kung Fu Storage Pavilion and immediately took out an ancient book from the bookshelf. Eternity Palm? Not a bad name. You. Long Fei moved. Cultivate. Ding. If my level isn't high enough, I won't be able to practice it. Long Fei. He was stupefied. From the time he had teleported to now, from the time he was from God's martial continent to this extremely dark world, Long Fei had never encountered anything that was not high enough in level and unable to cultivate. Long Fei was startled for a few seconds, and said, "System, are you playing with me? Even Jojo can cultivate, why can't I? Discriminating how handsome I am." If the ancient books and records of the Kung Fu Storage Pavilion were indeed treasures left behind by the Ming clan, then there was no need to mention, they would be extremely rich. If he was so powerful in the universal large world, then what would he be doing in this tiny 100,000 dimensions? Wasn't this the same as asking a cow to stand on its head? This was overturning the heavens. After trying for a few times, the system always gave him an answer: if your level is not high enough, you can't cultivate them. Sure. You're the boss, you're awesome. This daddy will take you to another one, right? Ding. If my level isn't high enough, I won't be able to practice it. I'll switch again. Ding. If my level isn't high enough, I won't be able to practice it. Ding. If my level isn't high enough, I won't be able to practice it. The voices continued to ring. Hearing Long Fei was agitated, if the system was human, he would definitely pull it out and give it a good beating. He had flipped through the entire first level of Kung Fu Storage Pavilion and couldn't find any ancient books that he could cultivate. When Long Fei reached the second level, this level was even more straightforward. The system didn't even have a notification sound. He was looking down on Long Fei. Long Fei looked like a frozen eggplant. He was stupefied, his eyes were stupefied, and he weakly sat on the ground. Why? Long Fei did not give up. After walking out of the Kung Fu Storage Pavilion, he came to the Hidden Weapon Pavilion. Ding. Level is not high enough, I can't use it. Ding. Level is not high enough, I can't use it. Just like the Kung Fu Storage Pavilion, they were all unable to be used, and most of them were things that Long Fei couldn't even hold up, let alone the description of these weapons. Long Fei continued to look through all the buildings. Other than Powder Storage Pavilion being able to take out some outdated medicinal pellets, there was nothing else. Actually, what Long Fei did not know was that to Long Fei, these pellets were also not high enough in levels to use, and all of the pellets he had eaten could only restore a little of his holy power value. If he could fully utilize the medicinal strength of these pills, any one of them would be sufficient to explode Long Fei's body. Because his body could not withstand it at all. The most tragic thing in the world is not the fact that there's no paper or toilet paper, nor is there no seasoning bag for instant noodles, and even more so, it's not that the goddess that he likes is actually a boy, but that all of the treasures are placed in front of you and you can't use them. Is there anything more tragic than this? Oh my God. Why don't you just kill me with a bolt of lightning? Long Fei wanted to cry, but no tears came out. No way. Jojo's level is not higher than mine. I want to know why. Long Fei moved and immediately asked, "Jojo, how did you train just now?" Jojo was stunned for a moment, her face was still red from embarrassment, and she said, "That's how you train." Long Fei said, "Why can't I cultivate a book?" Jojo muttered, "That's how I comprehended my cultivation, it's just that the ancient technique is too profound. To date, I have only comprehended one move." Comprehension? F***CK. I know. Long Fei once again entered the Shu Mi Rings, picked up an ancient book, and said, "I can also comprehend it, my talent is not low. However," he picked up an ancient book and said, "Your level is not high enough, You can't cultivate it. No matter how he tried. Is owning the system wrong? Is the system wrong as well? Heh. Is there any justice? Is there any laws? The owner of this old system is going to strip me of my right to comprehend. Long Fei had completely given up. He is the owner of the system. No matter what he did, no matter what he cultivated, he would have to go through the system. The system will decide for itself. Thus, he couldn't even cultivate a single book, and he couldn't even take out a single weapon. What was a tragedy? This was him. This was a treasure left behind by the Ming clan, and any one of them was worth tens of thousands of cities, but he was unable to cultivate. Long Fei really wanted to burn the torch here. However, Long Fei had a flash of inspiration, and thought to himself, I can't cultivate, but I still have a doppelganger. Since he can cultivate it, he is not the owner of the system. Speaking of this clone, Long Fei's idea moved slightly and felt it for a bit. The clone of the fiend god body was already preparing for his tribulation. If everything here was given to Long Fei's clone for cultivation, with his god's steelstone, god's bone taboo, and the fact that Long Fei had developed his own powerful strength, his innate talent, his potential was invincible. His existence. Forget about sovereigns, even the people from the universal large world didn't know. He would also become Long Fei's strongest killing move. That was something that would come later. Young master, the altar is moving. A big monster is about to appear. Jojo's expression tightened as he became cautious. Long Fei's heart was filled with anger. He shouted out one word, kill. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2130, Withdrawal from the Altar. Chapter 2130, Withdrawal from the Altar. The altar trembled, and the incomparably ugly alien carved on the altar rushed out. Another large alien. Long Fei shouted, fuck him. Jojo nodded cutely, and said, young master, you rest by the side, I will do it. Finished. Jojo rushed out. Long Fei suddenly felt that he was right in front of Xiao Bai. However, this feeling was pretty good. Being able to be Xiao Bai's face was something. Long Fei stood at the side and said, Jojo, do your best. At the same time, he was also observing the large alien. Even if these alien were ancient demon beast, they would definitely have their weakness. Long Fei's eyes were tightly locked. Boom. Jojo's sword images were like the sky, and the sword chi was faintly discernible as it dispersed outwards. The moment the large alien crashed into him, all the 10,000 swords converged into one, releasing a force that defied the heavens. Buzz. The large alien took off half of its arm. Floating above its head floated a bright red number, 19 million damage. Long Fei was stunned. This injury. Isn't that too explosive? Long Fei could only deal a few 100,000 damage under the condition of absolute zero seal of the hidden strength. But this strike by Jojo. In comparison, Long Fei felt that his attacks were scratching an itch. They were on completely different levels. Immediately, Long Fei once again thought about the cultivation techniques in the Kung Fu storage pavilion, and sighed in his heart, why, in the end, did I do the wrong god horse? Do this to me. Can't I cultivate my cultivation technique? Just how long have I been controlled by the system? Long Fei really wanted to cultivate the technique inside, but it was simply impossible. It was completely controlled by the system. Long Fei could also see the drawbacks of the system from this. Although he was furious, it was useless. Roar. The large alien let out a furious roar and instantly entered a berserk state. Its body turned scarlet, as if its entire body had turned into magma. Long Fei's heart tightened, and said, Jojo, be careful. Jojo nodded, I will. While they were talking, another sword struck out. This sword. Jojo did not use the cultivation method cultivated in the Kung Fu storage pavilion, but instead, used her phoenix's power. Phoenix Emperor. The power of a phoenix. He was also an extremely powerful existence. But what made Long Fei slightly shocked was the attack from Jojo caused a red mist to float on top of the large alien's head. There was no damage at all. Long Fei squinted. Why is that? In the beginning, it could cause explosive damage, so even if the large alien's defense was soaring up, it still wouldn't be a miss. Long Fei shouted, "Jojo, try using your own strength again." Jojo nodded, and used the power of the phoenix once again. It was stronger this time, with the power of the Nirvana flame. It was the same. The numbers that floated up above the large alien was MIS. It couldn't even break through his defense. The power of the phoenix wasn't strong enough. The Nirvana flame was not strong enough. Even if the god of law were to receive such a blow, it would take half his life. It was impossible not to be strong. The only reason was. Long Fei's heart sank, his eyebrows locked. Alien demon beast belongs to an ancient demon beast. These demon beasts are most likely not 100,000 dimension beasts. In other words, using the power of 100,000 planes wouldn't be able to hurt them. The reason why Jojo's Ming Clan technique could cause such explosive damage is also because of this. In that instant, Long Fei shouted out, "Jojo, use the sword technique you are training in Kung Fu Storage Pavilion." Jojo replied, "Understood." The aura on his body stirred. His sword struck out, piercing through the heavens. Shua. The sword chi split apart, and the large alien's body directly split apart, and its gigantic body started to fall apart piece by piece. Another damage figure rose above his head. F***CK. Sure enough, Long Fei's heart was at ease. No matter how strong the power of 100,000 planes is, they won't be able to kill these ancient demon beast. Their bodies are immune to the power of 100,000 planes, so it can be said that they won't be able to kill them no matter what. This should be the secret of the ancient demon beast, right? Long Fei was shocked. It was no wonder that countless powerhouse had come to this place in the past tens of millions of years. However, no matter how hard they tried, it was useless. There was simply no way he could open the ancient entry. That was the reason. A power of 100,000 planes. Useless. The reason why Long Fei could kill a large alien just now was because of the hidden power. If not, he would not have been able to kill the large alien even if it did not have any defenses. These were the rules. Just like the rules of the game, it was an existence that could not be broken. It just so happened that because of Jojo's awakening, otherwise, Long Fei would have also died here. Long Fei was shocked in his heart. What kind of existence is the ancient entry exactly? Why is there an ancient entry here? And why are they protecting these ancient demon beast? And it's an ancient alien's demon beast that is controlled from beyond 100,000 planes. Does it really lead to the battleground? Or should I say, is it hiding other secrets? Long Fei was certain that the sovereign Hong Tu had definitely been to this place before, and he would not be able to get through to the ancient entry. Roar. Suddenly, on the sacrificial altar, another large alien rushed out from the sacrificial altar. It was huge in size. Long Fei slightly said, "Jojo, withdraw first and get rid of the alien's demon beast outside the altar." This altar was like a formation. How many large alien were hidden inside? Long Fei had no way of knowing. Even if he could break the altar and enter, would there still be an even more powerful alien waiting for him? Long Fei had to be prepared. This allowed Jojo to cultivate more of the Ming Clan's techniques and obtain more of the Ming Clan's power. And then again, Long Fei himself had to think of a way to deal with these large alien. Jojo quickly landed beside Long Fei and retreated out of the altar. Long Fei and Yu Yang retreated out of the altar and the large alien immediately disappeared. Long Fei chuckled sinisterly as he looked at the alien demon beast that was chasing after him relentlessly. "It's my turn to chase after you guys." Without waiting for Long Fei's order, Jojo immediately made his move. Half an hour later, over 100 alien demon beast were killed by Jojo alone. Long Fei had obtained all of the experience, and compared to the 100 billion experience of the large alien, the experience of these infant aliens was simply too little. Jojo, enter the Shu Mi rings and practice a few more techniques that are suitable for you. In addition, hidden weapon pavilion, powder storage pavilion. In any case, the more stuff inside, the better it will be for you, the more help you get. Long Fei said seriously. Whether or not you can connect to ancient entry is up to you. Jojo gave a shallow smile, and 2 dimples appeared on his face. Very adorable, and he nodded, "Amen." And then he entered Long Fei's Shu Mi Rings S. Long Fei sat cross-legged and muttered, "I also need to improve myself. Can the power of the darkness evolve and become aggressive without consuming all of my holy power value?" Chapter 2131 Zhong Wushuang's Inner Demon. Chapter 2131 Zhong Wushuang's Inner Demon. The power of 100,000 planes. The power of darkness. Then there was the ancient fire soul. And then again, the power of a gobbledegook. However, the bestowal soul had to maintain the temperature of Long Fei's body. As for the strength of the gobbledegook, it could be said that Long Fei's degree of mastery was negligible, so for the cultivation of the gobbledegook, he did not have any clue. It would probably be difficult to break through from the Starbook S to the Holy Buddha S in a short period of time. Right now, the only thing left was the power of the darkness. Buzz. Long Fei moved his body and entered the world of Dragon Coffin. Giant dragon, come out. In the world of Dragon Coffin, the colossal dragon impatiently poked out a huge ferocious dragon head and stared at it with its 2 large eyes. With a deep voice, it asked, "Brat, what the hell is going on now?" Long Fei said, "How can I make the power of darkness evolve again? F***ck. How should I know? Whether or not I have the ancient inheritance on me, how would I know?" The colossal dragon disdainfully said. "Long Fei." And then Long Fei asked again, "Then do you know the Ming clan?" "Ming clan?" The colossal dragon pondered for a moment, then said, "That is the overlord that controlled the universal large world countless years ago." "Why are you asking this?" As expected, the white-haired old man didn't lie to him. Ming clan was once the overlord-level powerhouse. Long Fei said, "You do not know how to cultivate the power of the ancient inheritance, but do you know how to cultivate the power of the Ming clan's seal? Ming clan's mark?" The colossal dragon's eyes flashed with a bright light, and it earnestly stared at Long Fei's left arm. Its eyes shook, and its pupils widened, as its blood boiled. "Good boy, as expected. You do indeed have a Ming clan imprint on your body. I didn't expect you to have such astonishing talent, and even amazing luck. You can even meet a Ming clan who has disappeared for billions of years. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." The colossal dragon laughed out loud in excitement. Long Fei rolled his eyes and said, "I'm laughing your head. Hurry up and tell me if there's any power hidden within the Ming clan's mark, and how do you want to cultivate it? If the power of the darkness could not advance further, then the power of the Ming clan seal would also be able to kill those large alien." The colossal dragon shut his laughter and swung his large dragon head. He said very straightforwardly, "I don't know. Long Fei. F***k your sister." The colossal dragon replied, "I have no sister. Otherwise, I would be willing to marry her to you." Long Fei. He was truly speechless. "You are a dignified giant dragon, the guardian of Dragon Coffin, and you actually don't know how to cultivate the power of ancient inheritance. You F***king have no use for it." Long Fei was very anxious right now. He did not want Jojo to bear all the pressure. Women were meant to be spoiled. Not for him. The colossal dragon grinned and said faintly, "Although I don't know how to cultivate the power of the ancient inheritance, nor do I know much about the Ming clan's mark that has disappeared for billions of years, but..." The huge dragon looked at Long Fei seriously and said, "You are the crystallization of the dragon manor and the Mu clan, and also the owner of the ancient inheritance. Blood essence can help you awaken the power of the Ming clan's seal." Long Fei's eyes shook as he said excitedly, "Are you saying that I can use my blood essence to release the power of the Ming clan's imprint? Wow. I never thought that my blood essence would have such a powerful strength." The colossal dragon rolled his eyes at Long Fei as he said with envy in his heart, "Isn't he just strong? Even the ancient inheritance S that the gods tribe S want to destroy, the blood essence in your body can be said to be heaven-destroying and earth-destroying." However, the huge dragon said, "Don't use the blood essence in your body easily. The consequences will be severe." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei had already disappeared from the Dragon Coffin world. The colossal dragon was stupefied. "Brat, did you hear what I said? Don't abuse it, or the consequences will be very serious." Long Fei didn't hear anything at all. Coming out from the dragon coffin world, Long Fei looked at his left arm. He couldn't see the Ming clan's mark, nor could he sense the location of the Ming clan's mark, but it was right inside. "Can my blood essence be activated? The power of the Ming clan. I wonder if I can activate the energy of the ancient inheritance that has disappeared, Nether?" And then, Long Fei looked at his right arm again, and the dragon-shaped mark could be seen clearly. "How will you react if I drip my blood essence on the dragon-shaped mark?" Long Fei really wanted to try it out. Should I give it a try? Long Fei was a little impatient. He pondered for a long time. Long Fei endured, using his powerful techniques at the critical moment. Azure Dragon in the left, White Tiger in the right, I am Zhuo Ming, in the right, ha ha ha. Long Fei began to excitedly laugh as he lightly exhaled. Then, he calmed his heart and the formation diagram of the altar appeared in his mind. There were also the large alien S that were constantly rushing out from the altar. The enormous altar took the form of the 8 trigram formation, while Long Fei continuously thought about a method to break it. "Why aren't you moving?" On God's mountain. Zhong Wushuang locked the space between his brows. 3 days passed. Long Fei sat cross-legged, not moving at all. This made him confused. Jojo could obviously deal with those large alien, but why not continue to move forward? Black Robe Destiny God said, maybe he's waiting for something. Zhong Wushuang said, wait for what? There's nothing to wait for. He could not wait any longer. Because, when he saw that Jojo was able to kill the large alien, his eyes released a gold light. He felt that everything he had paid for was worth it. Even though he had been crushed by Long Fei several times, he felt that it was worth it. Long Fei was about to open up the ancient entry for him. Once the ancient entry was broken through, in order to become the master of the ancient entry, he would lead his clansmen into the battleground, and before the god could return, he would destroy the 100,000 planes that the main temple ruled over. He would become the new sovereign, the true king of laws. Long Fei, hurry up and push. Zhong Wushuang's expression was sinister. The law energies surrounding his body faintly shined with a red light, and within this red light, a strong and ruthless aura could be seen. This was not the first time such a phenomenon had occurred. Zhong Wushuang did not notice. However, Black Robe Destiny God had sensed it, but he did not advance. This was the sign of becoming a devil. 123 law energies. In just a few short months, he forcefully merged with it. No matter how strong one's innate talent was, no matter how strong their physical body was, it was impossible to achieve that. As long as he had something to say, he would be merciful. In order to become stronger, Zhong Wushuang didn't care that much, and the aura on his body had already undergone a huge change. Other than the Black Robe Destiny God, no one else dared to approach. However, as long as he was able to open up the ancient entry, he would be a sovereign, the ruler of 100,000 planes. The chief sovereign. Furthermore, the devil in his heart was born because of Long Fei. As long as he killed Long Fei, the devils in his heart would naturally die. Chapter 2132, The Big Boss is about to appear. Chapter 2132, The Big Boss is about to appear. Half a month. Long Fei sat motionlessly. His mind continued to evolve and deduce. He kept thinking about how the altar would work. At the same time, he was also waiting for Jojo to come out from the Shu Mi rings. He did not urge him, but waited quietly instead. He did not know that Zhong Wushuang was staring at him at all times. I don't know. Actually, the God's Mountain was not far from his position. Other than Zhong Wushuang, the evil god also had trouble sleeping and eating for half a month. He had seen everything that Long Fei had experienced while he was in the black box, and he was worried that Long Fei would really be able to open the entrance. The battleground was a 3-legged structure. It was even worse for him. Ancient War God, Cloud City, Oya landed. Li Yuanba said excitedly, Sword Force King Kong, return. Now, we only have God, S Water King Kong Lin Yusheng. The 7 of them stood together. The 7 King Kongs had all gathered, leaving only the god's water King Kong behind. Aoya replied, "There's no need to look for him. He should be in the Devil Island by now. I've contacted him." This guy immediately went to the Devil Island after knowing that their boss has been there. And Devil Island is surrounded by seawater, so he can protect that place even better in Devil Island. Aoya looked at Li Yuanba and asked, "Where is boss now? Where are we going to find him?" Li Yuanba said, "To Devil Island." Waiting for boss. Aoya was stunned for a moment before she muttered, "I missed him so much." Aoya was the only woman in the 8 King Kong, and also Long Fei's woman. She was the one who missed Long Fei the most. Li Yuanba said naively, "Don't worry, boss will be back soon. Before he returns, the 8 of us should improve ourselves a little. And I will teach you the diamond body, and the power of the heaven pillar should help you take a step further. The battle is about to begin." Li Yuanba looked at the sky. During this period of time, the Soul Demon clan was in a state of chaos. There were bodies everywhere, and blood was flowing like a river. The 100,000 plains were filled with massacres. However, the main temple who controlled 100,000 plains, however, was unmoved. He didn't have the slightest intention to stop them. This was something that the creatures of the 100 plains absolutely hated. If there was hatred, there was hatred. If there was enmity, there would be anger in his heart. There was fire, and there would always be a time when it would explode. It was just that the time had not come yet. And what Li Yuanba and the others needed to do was to become stronger, to make all the preparations for Long Fei's return, and to make all the preparations for Long Fei. The war was about to begin. The space between his eyebrows tightened, and he suddenly said, "We have to go to Devil Island immediately." What happened? Soul Demon clan is heading to Devil Island. Li Yuanba's brows shook, and said, "Okay, then let them train, and let them start our 8 King Kong's first battle in the primordial divine war. Let's go. Hurry to the Devil Island." Many things happened during the ancient war. The Soul Demon clan let everyone in the ancient god battlefield feel threatened. It also caused people to complain. They complained about the main temple's inaction. The main temple did not care. Humans were like ants, they had died by tens of millions. What did hundreds of millions matter? They don't care. Ha ha ha. Soul Demon clan has gone to Devil Island. Alright. Devil Island is a place where Long Fei becomes a god, and also his headquarters. As long as we kill all the living beings on the Devil Island, even if we can't harm Long Fei, we can still defeat his divine roots. Without billions of lives in the Devil Island, what kind of god is Long Fei? Ha ha ha. Without Devil Island as a base, what can he do? Who is willing to follow him into the battleground? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Waves of wild laughter came out from the main temple. This 1 month. They had always been doing one thing, and that was how to lure the Soul Demon clan to the Devil Island. With the power of the Soul Demon clan, the Devil Island would soon become a dead island. This way, Long Fei's foundation would be thrown into chaos. Long Fei would definitely be severely injured. Buzz. The Shu Mi rings slightly moved. A beautiful figure flew out. The aura on his body changed once again. Compared to a month ago, Jojo's cultivation had increased explosively, and the sword in his hand was also different. "Young master, I'm ready." Jojo descended. Long Fei opened his eyes and said, "Alright, then let's open up this ancient entry and make this world tremble." While they were talking, Long Fei stepped into the array on the altar. Jojo followed closely behind. In that instant, from the altar, the large alien rushed out. Jojo raised his eyes slightly, thrusted with the rainbow phoenix tail sword in his hand, and his figure disappeared, continuously flying in the air, and finally landing behind the large alien. Boom! The large alien's body immediately exploded. "A one-hit kill," Long Fei said excitedly. "What a powerful sword technique." Jojo laughed and said, "Many thanks, young master. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to cultivate such a profound sword technique. Your Kung Fu Storage Pavilion's sword skills are too profound, and the higher you go, the harder it is to cultivate." Jojo said somewhat dejectedly. She wanted to be stronger. Share more for Long Fei. However, the cultivation technique of the Kung Fu storage pavilion was too profound. Long Fei wanted to cry, not because he was moved, but because he could not even cultivate a single cultivation technique. Roar! Another large alien roared out. Long Fei really wanted to go up and give it a slash, but even if he were to cut it 100 times, it would probably be MSS damage. He didn't gain any experience at all. Jojo continued to lead the way. Long Fei, on the other hand, continued to look at the 8-trigram diagram on the ground and started to ponder unceasingly. The center of the 8-trigram diagram is Taiji. 2 black and white. It's also on the altar. Black and white are most likely the entrances. This was only Long Fei's speculation, and he could not guarantee it. Roar! 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 When Long Fei and Jojo were just 10 meters away from the altar, more and more large aliens started to rush out from the altar. Fortunately, Jojo had improved his cultivation in a month and had cultivated a variety of cultivation techniques. He swam amongst the large alien and killed them. Skillful. Long Fei looked up to the altar, and suddenly, the idea moved, wings of the sky. Boom. He landed on the altar. Break. Staring at the distant darkness, he moved his fists and roared. Break. Boom. A loud sound rang out, and the entire 8-trigram diagram began to tremble. At this moment, a dazzling golden light suddenly erupted from the crack line. Rumble. 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 Explosions continuously sounded from the altar. The black light continued to split open in the distance, and golden light continued to burst out, just like the light that was falling from the sky. Extremely strong. However, Long Fei knew that this light was not from the light of the sky, but the golden glow on the boss body. The big boss was about to appear. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2133 Double Kill Boss. Chapter 2133 Double Kill Boss. The black and white eyes shared a world. It was also an intuitive choice for Long Fei to shatter the black eye. The black eye shattered. With the burst of golden light, Long Fei's eyes also flashed with a light. His heart immediately became excited. Boss. Immediately, Long Fei took a few steps back. At this moment, the large alien around the altar roared out in anger, staring at Long Fei with eyes filled with killing intent. Jojo could not help but be worried. Boom. 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 The sacrificial altar continuously rumbled. It was like the explosions of energy. As they got closer and closer, the sacrificial altar also began to tremble more violently. It was incomparably powerful. Long Fei's state of mind was completely crushed. Big boss, absolute big boss. Roar. A roar. As the golden light receded, a golden figure rushed out from within the black eye. It was exceptionally ferocious. It descended from the sky. It was only a golden light, and was not real, nor was there any afterimage. Long Fei was puzzled. What the hell is this? It was obviously a boss, but he didn't have a physical body. How was he going to kill them? The golden light released an extremely dangerous aura, which Long Fei did not dare to let down his guard. The golden light was also staring at Long Fei. In an instant, shua, the golden light crashed down. Not towards Long Fei, but towards the group of alien. It directly possessed the body of a large alien. The large alien's body started to spasm and struggle as all of its body rapidly transformed. Roar! 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 Piercing screams could be heard continuously. Long Fei was immediately dumbfounded. He had never seen such a boss before. Possession boss. A mutated boss. Although he had never seen it before, he had seen this scene in a certain street game in his previous life. It meant that the alien possessed the dinosaur and the dinosaur would mutate, turning into a boss. The scene in front of him was almost the same. However, Long Fei was shocked as he looked at the large alien's crazy transformation. He could not help but become shocked. This guy. Ferocious. Jojo, be careful. Before he could finish, a strength stripes shot out from the large alien that was possessed by the golden light, shaking all of the large alien that was frowning. Golden symbols appeared on the golden armor. The surface of the armor was covered with a thick layer of defensive air shield. His defense was heaven-defying. Just at that moment, the golden large alien's eyes opened wide. Its gaze was like a golden laser beam, sweeping out and looking at Jojo. Jojo's eyes turned cold. He reacted quickly and leaped up. Hualala. The place he had just stood on was instantly charred black. And it had a bad smell to it. Poison. Long Fei was shaken beyond compare. Damn, a venomous eye attack. This boss is awesome. Awesome. He was not afraid, but excited. Because the stronger the boss, the higher the drop rate. This boss was extremely fierce, and it was one that Long Fei had never met before. One could only imagine how good it would be when he dropped it. Immediately, Long Fei leaped up and released the Sky Principle. Shua. He landed beside Jojo and said faintly, "I'll distract him and you can sneak attack me and wander around. Remember, if you succeed in one move, you must immediately leave." Jojo nodded, amen. She was as obedient as a child. To her, Long Fei's words were an order. She would never disobey. Jojo said in a low voice, "Young master, you should also be careful." Long Fei took a step forward, stood in front of him and shouted. He stared at the golden light large alien and said, "Hey, grandson, come and fuck me." He had an expression of abject insolence. It was as wretched as it could be. The golden light exploded out from the large alien's body. It was obvious that it had been provoked by Long Fei and became angry. Boom. His body moved, exploding from where he stood, releasing a white smoke, and his huge body instantly landed in front of Long Fei. TL. His speed was astonishing. Even faster than his Sky Principle. Long Fei's heart was startled, so King Farce. However, Long Fei did not leave, but stood at his original spot provoking him, and said, "Come, fight me." Roar. The golden light large alien moved, striking towards Long Fei with its forelimbs. The power of the golden light was extremely strong and could be seen distorting and shattering the space behind the huge palm. This power. One move would probably take half of Long Fei's life. At this moment, Jojo made his move. The sword intention attack was like a bolt of lightning, and the dense power of the Chi method pierced down heavily. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, *100 swords in a second. It continuously exploded out from the body of the golden light large alien. A string of single-digit damage values floated above his head. 1 inch 9. This damage. It was so low that it was outrageous. Moreover, the bloody groove on his head appeared. Long Fei felt his scalp go numb as he looked at the string of numbers on the top of his head. F***CK. Over 10 billion HP. We're finished now. Jojo's Ming Clan technique only dealt a single-digit amount of damage. This wasn't even faster than his health recovering speed. 10 billion health, he wouldn't be able to explode even if he died. Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, Jojo cried out in alarm, "Young master, be careful." Long Fei had only focused his attention on Jojo's attack earlier. He did not expect the golden light large alien to not care about Jojo's attack at all, so its palm struck towards Long Fei with unstoppable force. A golden light that covered the heavens and the earth. It was as if layers of hell had come crashing down. Long Fei's pupils shrank rapidly. The Sky Principle was the defense. Crash. The defensive layer of the ancient code shattered instantly, and Long Fei was sent flying as well. His body moved like lightning. A bolt of lightning streaked through the sky. It was as if his entire body was on fire. The speed of his flying. It was shockingly fast. Long Fei's entire body seemed to have split apart as the blood on his head frantically fell, unable to withstand the damage. This is too hard to bear. He thought he could withstand it. He could at least block one attack, but he discovered he couldn't even take a single blow. Moreover, at the same time that Long Fei was sent flying, the golden light large alien boss did not just stand there motionlessly. Instead, it suddenly turned around and stared at Jojo. Jojo was truly worried for Long Fei. For a moment there was no response. Hualala. The golden light large alien chopped down with its palm once again. Jojo's expression changed slightly as the power of the phoenix slightly moved. Above her mind, a pure white fluorescent light descended and landed on the tear of the phoenix that was in her heart. Hualala. And also exploded out like Long Fei. Boom. Boom. With two loud bangs, Long Fei's body fell into a deep pit, his HP dropping to 0. Jojo also fell into the deep pit, his HP reaching the bottom. 2 moves, 1 kill the two of them. A fierce battle. Boss double kill. Chapter 2134, The Undead Duo, Long Fei Invincible. Chapter 2134, The Undead Duo, Long Fei Invincible Ferocious. It was indescribably fierce. In just 2 moves, Long Fei and Jojo were instantly killed. Moreover, these were not even his 2 strongest moves. This power, this damage, it was simply indescribable. Moreover, under that palm, Long Fei felt that the boss power had an endless penetrating power, as if it was ignoring his defenses. 2 fears. Roar. The golden light large alien let out a furious roar, as if it was venting its anger, but also as if it was saying, "This is the result of provoking me." He was abnormally arrogant. Domineering. In the deep pit, Long Fei's cracked body truly reformed. The god's immortal bead released a powerful energy to recreate his body. Long Fei was extremely worried for Jojo, since he could not withstand that palm from it, even Jojo could not. However, I wonder how she is now. Buzz. The energy of the god's immortal bead was released. Long Fei rose up from the ground and saw the deep pit on the other side. Jojo's face was pale as he fell into the deep pit, the aura on his body completely disappearing. Ah! Long Fei was instantly in rage. His entire being seemed to have gone mad. Move, my woman. If I don't kill you, I'm not called Long Fei. Jojo. The first woman who had ever been kind to him. A silly woman. In Long Fei's eyes, her position was irreplaceable. The last time she had suffered so much for him, she had died. The soul of the destiny god was once again taken away from him. Now, falling in front of Long Fei again, this hatred almost caused Long Fei to go insane. However, just as Long Fei was about to rush out, a white glow descended from Jojo's body, falling onto her body. It was as if layers of ripples surfaced on the calm surface of a lake. The pure white light continued to envelop the area. Her whole body was also rapidly recovering. Both of her eyes opened slightly, causing Jojo to look at Long Fei bashfully, because she had just heard Long Fei say that she was his woman. Jojo. Long Fei was startled. Jojo stood up. The aura from her body became even stronger. More powerful than before. Jojo said shyly, "Young master, I have the physique of the phoenix. This is my 3rd rebirth. Phoenix Emperor. 9 rebirths." This was her 3rd time. Long Fei was startled, and immediately became excited. "Ha ha ha. So, you still have 6 more times?" Jojo nodded his head. "Yes, but I won't be able to die anytime. The first time, the second time, I wasn't prepared for it, and my body was unable to take it, so I was unable to recover immediately. However, this time, I'm ready. I still have to thank the young master for the cultivation technique and the powerful soul power." Long Fei was exceptionally happy. This was simply an undying duo. Long Fei used God's immortal bead. Jojo had the unique power of nirvana that only existed in Phoenix Emperor. The two of them did not die. However, Long Fei could no longer let Jojo take the risk. He did not want his beloved woman to fall once again. And then, Long Fei shouted, "Now, just watch, I will take care of him. Damn it. If you touch my woman, I won't implode you." Long Fei bellowed. He turned and stared, floating in the air. It appeared in the field of vision of the golden light large alien. Seeing that Long Fei was not dead, the golden light large alien was furious and continuously roared. Long Fei was also furious, and shouted, "Grandson, it's your grandpa's turn." Shua. He took a step forward. It pierced through the void. He landed right beside the golden light large alien and stared at the gigantic and ugly alien. Long Fei didn't hesitate at all. A drop of blood essence had been condensed. It landed directly on the left arm, on the Ming clan imprint released by the white-haired old man. Buzz! A scarlet ray of light shot out. Like a gigantic halo of light, it formed into a huge wave, covering a distance of 10 million kilometers, causing the entire altar to shake. Even the alien boss shook. A trace of astonishment flashed in his eyes. The alien's big boss let out a roar. Golden light exploded from his body like a blazing sun, shining brightly. These light waves formed into an incomparably strong attack power that pressed towards Long Fei. If it was just now, this move would have turned Long Fei into powder, and even God's immortal bead would not be able to fix him. The power of this move was too strong. Jojo's face changed as he shouted, "Young master!" At the same time, she rushed towards Long Fei without caring about anything else. However, Long Fei shouted, "Don't come over." A wave of light enveloped the area. Long Fei looked like a normal person under the light waves. She was not harmed in the slightest, and the blood on her head didn't drip either. Because this layer of black light enveloped his body. The Ming clan mark on his left arm appeared. It was extremely bright. Long Fei could feel the power within the mark. He finally understood that the undead power was the weakest power imprinted on it. Initially, he had thought that the Ming clan elder was just pretending. Now he finally understood the meaning of this sentence. The undead power was the weakest existence among all the imprints, so Long Fei's current feeling could only be described with one word: invincible. Nothing else. Just 2 words, invincible. The damage from this light wave could easily kill everything in its path. But him. It didn't move at all, not a single bit of damage. He didn't even have the strength to tickle him. Looking at the golden light large alien's stupefied expression, Long Fei grinned slightly and said, "You little pussy, come again. What other powerful strength do you have? Come again. Kill me. Come on." Incomparable arrogance. It was incomparably savage. Long Fei was just like that. The golden light large alien was furious and furious. The golden armor was constantly changing, and the runes on the armor seemed to be burning as well. The wave of light vanished. Long Fei hovered in midair, excitedly saying disdainfully, "Grandson, come kill me, come." Roar. The golden light large alien roared towards the sky. From its feet to the top of its head, its entire body had turned scarlet red, like a burning machine. It had gone crazy. At the same time the light disappeared. The Ming clan imprint on his left arm disappeared. Long Fei kept on summoning, but he could not feel any power from the Ming clan's mark at all. Zhong Xian felt a chill in his heart. Damn. Can it be that I can only use a drop of blood essence once? Long Fei was shocked. Seeing the golden light large alien's rage, he instantly condensed another drop of blood essence, and once again activated the power of the Ming clan's imprint. Just as he had expected, the blood essence fell down. The Ming clan imprint had appeared. A drop of blood essence could only be activated once. Long Fei said calmly in his heart, "Okay, there will be a lot of blood essence in my body, 1,000 drops, 10,000 drops won't be a problem, ha ha ha." He did not hear what the dragon said. His blood essence contained the power of the ancient inheritance, so it could not be used easily. There are side effects. Chapter 2135 Explosion of Sequili. Chapter 2135 Explosion of Sequili. Rumble. 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 The golden light big boss unleashed another burst of power, this time even more ferociously. The golden light turned scarlet, which was a result of its enraged state. But it was still useless. Long Fei, in the midst of all these attacks, was invincible. He would not be harmed in the slightest. Long Fei said loudly, come on, you dumb *SS, are you trying to kill me? Aren't you very strong?" A cheap expression. The big boss of the alien was provoked, causing it to jump around wildly, as though it wanted to tear Long Fei to pieces. "Come on. Come and kill me. Come on." Long Fei laughed out arrogantly, muttering to himself, The Ming clan's imprint's power is strong. With this power, I can walk unhindered in the future. But if we were to compare the power of this fellow with that of a sovereign, how powerful would he be? Even if sovereigns are a bit stronger, they probably won't be that much stronger, so I am still invincible, ha ha ha. The more Long Fei thought about it, the more excited he became. As long as he used the power of the Ming clan's mark well. That way, he would be able to sweep away 100,000 planes. He would become the ruler of 100,000 planes. It was the same for entering the universal world. He had gone berserk and laughed arrogantly the whole way. This was the world he wanted. However, Long Fei did not feel that every time he used his own blood essence, his body would feel as if it was being overused, as if it was gradually being hollowed out. It was also because he was too excited that he didn't notice it. Roar! The golden light large alien exploded once again. Long Fei activated the Ming clan seal again with a drop of blood essence, still as invincible as before. Is that all you've got? It's not even enough to tickle me. Are there any stronger powers? Long Fei ruthlessly looked down on him. The golden light big boss was so angry that its entire body was twitching. Suddenly, a mouthful of blood spurted out from its mouth. 10 billion inch a damage figure was sent flying out. 10 billion damage. Long Fei was startled. What the F *****? He was dumbfounded. He didn't attack at all. This boss was so angry that it vomited blood. It was angered to death by Long Fei. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed wildly, excited in his heart. Explode. 10 billion damage. The golden light large alien was instantly killed by him. At this time. It should be when the system beep sounds. But what surprised Long Fei was that the system beep did not ring out. Long Fei's heart trembled. Oh no, I did not do any harm to it. It itself killed itself out of anger. Then I will not be able to kill it. This way, I won't even get a fart. Long Fei was speechless. Because the power of the Ming clan's imprint was too strong, he had forgotten about this matter for a while. This was a massive boss with 10 billion HP. Gone just like that. Long Fei wanted to cry. However, just when he was feeling extremely vexed, the large alien that was angered to death by Long Fei suddenly turned into a pile of skeletons, and at that moment, it directly rose up from its original position and swallowed the other large alien beside it. At the same time, the golden light that was floating descended once again. Roar! After another series of hideous transformations, the large alien that was possessed by the skeleton became even more sinister. The aura on its body was also especially terrifying. It was many times stronger than before. It's still evolving. Holy ****. This is giving the boss to me. I thought you were going to die. I didn't expect you to still be alive. This is great. The boss was still alive. Long Fei was excited. If he died, there would be nothing left. Roar! The entire altar was trembling, its two empty eyes staring straight at Long Fei. That kind of strong pressure was as if the heavens were crushing down on them layer by layer. Long Fei's mind could not bear it. However, Long Fei was not afraid. Earlier, it was you who attacked, but now, it's my turn. Long Fei's eyes turned cold. Just now he was only releasing the defensive power of the Ming clan's mark. He didn't use any offensive power. Looking at the golden light boss's abnormal change, Long Fei would definitely not miss this opportunity. His blood essence stirred. Buzz! Upon landing on his left arm, Long Fei became excited. Ming clan imprint, activate. Boom! A loud bang echoed out from within his body. It was also at this time. The loud noise suddenly disappeared, and Long Fei's body sank down, his brain almost splitting apart, his entire body shivering uncontrollably. It was extremely uncomfortable. He felt as if his blood essence had been sucked dry. What kind of attack is this? Long Fei did not know that he had used too much of his blood essence. He thought that it was because of the golden light boss's attack, but just now, the drop of blood essence had blocked the attack of the golden light boss. Immediately, Long Fei roared out, and once again condensed the blood essence. Ming clan seal, activate. Buzz! The sound was very soft. It was as if he did not feel the Ming clan's imprint. Not only that, Long Fei even lost his own strength crazily. Here, in the code, his cultivation was losing power as if it was flowing sand. It quickly disappeared. Long Fei's face was filled with shock. Why is that so? The power of a big boss. Ah! Long Fei panicked a little, but at this time, he did not hesitate and condensed another 3 drops of blood essence. At the same time, he injected them into the Ming clan seal and roared out, "The power of the imprint, open it for me." Rumble. A loud sound echoed out. Long Fei's body was in incomparable pain, but the power of the Ming clan's mark was activated once again. Long Fei did not know if it was the golden light big boss's power that caused the damage, or if there was a problem with his body. However, he only had one thought on his mind right now. As long as he killed it, he would be able to level up, and all his stats would be restored. The pain would disappear. Strength will come back. As long as I kill you, everything will return to normal. Long Fei roared, and the blade of Main God descended. The power of the Ming clan's mark intertwined with it. He channeled all of his strength into it. Long Fei stared at the second variant boss. Come. The golden light large alien also noticed the change in Long Fei's body. Seeing Long Fei activate the Ming clan's imprint once again, its expression sank. Golden light filled the sky. Bolts of lightning, carrying the power of a strange fire, crazily struck Long Fei. Long Fei held the blade of Main God tightly with both of his hands as his body continuously trembled. All of the energy in his body was frantically flowing away, even the power of the Ming clan's seal that had been activated. He couldn't waste another second. Dark blade. With the slash of the blade of Main God, Long Fei unleashed all of his power. After the slash, it was as if his mind was going to split open. Looking at the power of the slash, Long Fei thought to himself, I must kill him instantly, I must kill him. If the boss didn't die, he would die. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2136, Boss, Explode. Chapter 2136, Boss, Explode. His body was hollowed out. Power, cultivation, all of zombie. All gone. Long Fei himself did not know what had happened. Now, he only wanted to instantly kill the boss and gain EXP. This way, he would be able to level up and recover everything. As long as he could kill the boss, nothing would be a problem. That slash had used all of his strength. If the boss had not evolved, he believed that he would have been able to kill it within a second. Rumble. A single slash. The power of the Ming clan's mark had also erupted to its highest point, crushing down fiercely. The black blade chi cut through everything. The golden light large alien had released all of its energy used for defense, yet his defense was instantly broken, and his golden skeleton's evolved physique also crumbled in a flash. See this? Long Fei laughed excitedly. Ha ha ha. Done. Done. With a whoosh, the long gash on the head of the golden light large alien disappeared. The 20 billion HP was destroyed just like that. The power of the Ming clan's mark was too strong. Looking at the golden light large alien's depleted blood, a miserable scream came out of thin air, causing Long Fei's heart to tighten. You better not evolve again. Absolutely not. In his past life, the ultimate boss had evolved quite a few times. This boss had evolved twice. If it evolved again, he would die here. His heart was incomparably nervous. He held his breath and listened quietly. Long Fei prayed in his heart, please bless me, Master. You must not evolve again. I can't take it anymore. Ding. An incomparably beautiful system beep sounded out. When Long Fei heard that, a light flashed in the eyes of the system beep. He immediately became nervous and excited. Ha ha ha. He could not stop laughing maniacally. It's about to level up. It's about to recover. The feeling of Long Fei's entire body being hollowed out was extremely uncomfortable, as though he was an invincible god, suddenly turning into an ordinary person without any cultivation. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Black Abyss Alien King for obtaining 1 billion experience, 1 billion holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining parasitic spell. Do you wish to cultivate it? Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 6th level of the God Realm. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 7th level of the God Realm. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 8th level of the God Realm. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 9th level of the God Realm. Rank 4 consecutively. It was extremely sharp. Long Fei was also extremely excited in his heart. The only thing he was unhappy about was that the alien's big boss did not drop anything, only an enchantment technique. Looking at the possession spell floating in the middle of the system, Long Fei was very unhappy. Just this kind of thing dropped. What the heck? However, Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, inject metamorphic energy value. The golden light was in his body, and every time it evolved, it would become stronger. If he was not mistaken, the parasitic spell should be this technique. Under the situation where the abnormal energy was being poured, Long Fei should be able to unleash its greatest strength. The energy value's injection was completed. The system paused for a few seconds, then the system beep started to ring. Long Fei was shocked in his heart. It has stopped for so long, it must be something good, ha ha ha. Cough cough. His laughter was so intense that he started coughing continuously. Moreover, Long Fei felt that his body was extremely uncomfortable. It was also because killing the boss to level up to level 4 was too exciting, so he did not check his body. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining parasitic spell level *10 evolution. Do you want to cultivate it? There was no change to the name of the cultivation technique. It was just that there was the word level 10 evolution added to it. When Long Fei thought about how the golden light large alien could only evolve twice, he became excited. Can it be that I can evolve 10 times? It's getting stronger and stronger each time. That's awesome. Long Fei slightly moved and said, cultivate. As soon as he finished, Long Fei couldn't help but cough once again. Cough cough cough. Cough, cough, cough. The coughing body was trembling. What was even more unexpected for Long Fei was that the system sounded out. Ding. Player level is not high enough, so I am unable to practice. Damn it. Long Fei immediately burst out in vulgarities, his fury rising. It was also because of this that Long Fei coughed a series of times, which was even more intense this time. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. Martial arts training users were usually very hard to get sick. The colds were even less. Long Fei's cultivation was at the spirit realm, so it was impossible for him to be sick. But now, after a series of rapid coughs, he felt like he had tuberculosis and was terminally ill. Long Fei's right hand covered his mouth as he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Looking at the blood on his palm, Long Fei's eyes darkened. What's going on? At this moment, Jojo had beheaded a few large alien and landed beside Long Fei. Looking at Long Fei's appearance, she was suddenly shocked, her lips trembled, and tears welled in her eyes. She was unable to say anything. Young master, you. Long Fei anxiously asked, what's wrong with me? His voice became hoarse. Moreover, at this time, Long Fei finally found that he had leveled up by 4 levels, but he had not recovered from the pain. Although his holy power value was full, he could not feel it. It was because his cultivation could not sense it. His strength, his defense, his power of laws, Long Fei seemed to be unable to sense everything. This was only secondary. The most important thing was his person. His face was full of wrinkles, and his back was hunched. His eyebrows were like white snow, and his eyes were unfocused. He looked like a 90-year-old man. Seeing Long Fei becoming so old all of a sudden, Jojo really couldn't control herself. Tears kept flowing out, and her heart was in great pain. She was unable to suppress the pain in her heart. How could this be? How could this be? Impossible. That's absolutely impossible. Even if I were to die, as long as I make a breakthrough and level up, everything would recover. How did I end up like this? Long Fei looked at his hands. Old, wrinkled, blotchy. He touched his face again. It was rough. Never. Long Fei couldn't understand why he would become like this. Right now, he felt like a person who was about to die. At this moment. Buzz. A voice sounded. Boom. Boom. Two figures appeared on the spot. Zhong Wushuang still had the black-robed destiny god. A smile hung at the corner of Zhong Wushuang's mouth. Looking at the oil lamp dried up, he laughed coldly. Long Fei, your current situation doesn't look good. Do you want to kneel or not? Do you want to kneel or not? He suddenly rushed out. Zhong Wushuang stared at Long Fei. When he saw Long Fei kill the golden light large alien in one move, he started to doubt whether he could even be Long Fei's match. After Long Fei rapidly aged, Zhong Wushuang laughed. Now that the ancient entry was connected, they could just go and recognize the owner. Long Fei had lost all his cultivation, and now, it was simply the best gift that the heavens had ever given him. Zhong Wushuang. Long Fei's eyes stared wide open and his heart sank. Immediately after, another series of coughs sounded out. Cough, 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 cough. Jojo's forehead moved, immediately protecting Long Fei who was beside him. Seeing Long Fei's series of coughs, Zhong Wushuang couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, you also have such a day? I really didn't think of it. Never in my wildest dreams would I imagine that you would also reach such a level. Ha ha ha. And then, Zhong Wushuang looked up to the sky and said loudly, Oh God, you finally opened your eyes. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, this is your retribution. Destroying my Zhong clan, destroying my body, destroying my future, but everything that you have done is for me. Ha ha ha. The ancient entry has cleared my path, and now that you have died in my hands, I will become the hero in the eyes of the gods in the main temple. I will become the new god of the 100 plains, and I will become the true king of the laws. Ha ha ha. The more Zhong Wushuang spoke, the more ferocious he became. The power of the ancient code that twined around his body started to shine with a scarlet light. This was a sign of qi deviation. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he said, You will become a pile of dog poop. At the same time, Long Fei said in a low voice, Jojo, you go first, I'll take care of him. Ha ha ha. Zhong Wushuang began to laugh, and said, You want to deal with me? Long Fei, you don't even have the slightest bit of cultivation now, much less the power of the ancient code. What are you going to use against me? With my little finger, I can easily crush you. While they were talking, Zhong Wushuang's eyes moved. Buzz. The power of law in his body suddenly exploded, forming an extremely strong pressure of law as it heavily struck down. Jojo's reaction speed was fast, and in an instant he blocked the attack. However, the power of the black-robed destiny god moved again, and directly blocked Jojo. Zhong Wushuang's law pressure came crashing down, causing Long Fei's body to make a poof. His entire body fell onto the ground, he was unable to move, and blood kept coming out from his mouth. It was extremely uncomfortable. What was hard to bear was not being crushed. The most uncomfortable part was, he did not even have the strength to resist. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Zhong Wushuang laughed out wildly. Long Fei, continue being arrogant for this daddy. Get up and do it for this daddy. How did he become a dead dog? Heh. Ha ha ha. Incomparable excitement. Zhong Wushuang dreamed about this day, about the day he stepped on Long Fei under his feet and fiercely humiliated him. Long Fei panted heavily, he could not even speak now. Zhong Wushuang grinned again. Oh, you're angry, right? Angry, come on. And then, Zhong Wushuang retracted his might. Long Fei let out a heavy breath as he crawled up from the ground with much difficulty. Not waiting for him to stand firm, Zhong Wushuang released yet another wave of pressure. Plop. Long Fei wanted to resist, but his body could not even hold on for half a second. He fell down on the ground again and all the bones in his body seemed like they were going to break. Zhong Wushuang had not used his full strength yet, otherwise he would have died immediately. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Zhong Wushuang laughed madly again, and said, Long Fei, do you know what you look like now? Like a dead dog, ha ha ha. You want to steal my woman? Against me? You think you're worthy? As soon as he finished, another wave of pressure came crashing down. The power of thunder smashed onto Long Fei's body, causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood. Jojo, who was at the side, leaped, and quickly landed beside Long Fei to help him up. Long Fei's mouth was full of blood as he said, "Jojo, don't worry about me, you guys go first, quickly." Under these circumstances, Long Fei was very clear about his own situation. However, he didn't want to see Jojo die with him. Jojo shook her head as she cried. No matter how Long Fei changed, in her eyes, he was still her beloved young master. There was no separation. Jojo stood in front of Long Fei, protecting him, and said, "Zhong Wushuang, how do you want to let go of young master?" Zhong Wushuang laughed, looked at Jojo, and said softly, "I am not interested in the women that Long Fei has played with, and you want me to let him go? About this, Long Fei, kneel down and kowtow to me, please, and beg me to let you go. Maybe I'll let you go when I'm happy." Long Fei did not move. However, Jojo kneeled on the ground with a thump and said in a heavy tone, "Lord God, I beg you, please let my young master go. I'm willing to do anything for you." I'm still okay. For Long Fei, Jojo could do anything. Wrapping up her body. She was such a fool. Zhong Wushuang was slightly stunned, then looked at Jojo with interest. He laughed and said, "Phoenix Emperor, I didn't think that after being with Long Fei for so long, you're not bad, not bad. If that's the case." Without waiting for Zhong Wushuang to finish speaking, Long Fei shouted, "Zhong Wushuang." Zhong Wushuang laughed in disdain, and said, "Long Fei, do you feel very angry?" "I feel so good, ha ha ha." They had seen Long Fei's pain. Zhong Wushuang couldn't help but become excited. Anger soared in Long Fei's heart, as he roared heavily, "Why? Why? Where is my strength? Where's my cultivation? Can anyone tell me? Who?" He was now like a crazed devil. He wanted to know where his strength had gone to. Seeing Jojo kneel down and being humiliated, Long Fei could do nothing. This kind of feeling was even worse than death. Long Fei shouted, "Zhong Wushuang, didn't you want my life? Come on. If you can't kill me today, tomorrow I will wipe out all 18 generations of your ancestors." Both of Zhong Wushuang's eyes trembled. He suddenly glared and shouted, "Long Fei, you think you're still alive today?" Buzz. A loud noise was heard. Long Fei's body slightly sank. Zhong Wushuang's pupils shrank. "Kneel." Long Fei's legs were firmly planted on the ground and his body was trembling non-stop. His upper body was about to collapse from the pressure, and he bellowed, "The people of my Long family do not kneel to the heavens, and do not bow to the earth. What the hell do you count as?" His voice was trembling. "You aren't going to kneel, right? Heh heh." Zhong Wushuang looked at Jojo as he released his power. The outer garment on the upper half of Jojo's body was torn apart, leaving only her undergarment as her fair skin was exposed. Zhong Wushuang laughed sinisterly, "Then I'll do your woman in front of you. I want to see if you'll kneel or not, ha ha ha." Chapter 2138, I Want You to Die. Chapter 2138, I Want You to Die. Zhong Wushuang did not want to kill Long Fei immediately. He wanted to play. He had to play slowly. Only by taking revenge on everything Long Fei had given him would he be able to vent the anger he had suppressed all these years. "Let me see how expensive your Long family's knees are. Ha ha ha." Zhong Wushuang laughed sinisterly, looking at Jojo's jade body. Her entire body was bright and clean, extremely white, and her body emitted a unique fragrance. Zhong Wushuang took a deep breath and said excitedly, "Is this the smell of Phoenix Emperor's body? Ha ha ha." Jojo's body trembled, but her eyes were incomparably resolute, and she said, "I beg you, please let my young master go, I'm willing to be at your mercy." She was still begging. She was not afraid of the torn outer garment. The only thing she was afraid of was that something had happened to Long Fei. Zhong Wushuang laughed and said, "Make your young master kneel down and kowtow, calling me grandpa, I am in the wrong. I'll spare his dog life. Even with his dead dog-like look, I disdain killing him." Black-robed destiny god's eyes turned cold. His eyes were filled with killing intent. If Zhong Wushuang did not make a move, he would too. Destroying his body, destroying his laws, destroying everything he had, he would never forgive Long Fei. Jojo said, "I am willing to do everything for young master, I beg you, please spare him." Long Fei continued to persevere. He struggled to hold on. Moreover, at the same time, he continuously called out to the sleeping beauty. "Wake up, wake up, wake up." The sleeping beauty was in a deep slumber. It was as if she did not feel Long Fei's summons. He had no intention of waking up. This was because of Long Fei's strength. Cultivation base. Cause of total loss. Long Fei did not give up. With a move of the idea, he entered the cultivation world of the dragon coffin and said, "Giant dragon, you are the guardian god of the dragon coffin. Can you help me now?" The colossal dragon stuck out his head and sighed. "I warned you not to overuse your blood essence. Everything you have now is due to overdraft." Long Fei's heart trembled. He only knew the reason now. However, that was no longer important. Long Fei said, "You are the guardian of the dragon coffin, you must be able to take care of Zhong Wushuang, I beg you, can you help out? Even if I ask you, will you?" Begging. This was the first time for Long Fei. It didn't matter to him. "But I absolutely cannot let Jojo." The huge dragon shook his head and said, "Long Fei, I'm sorry. I am the guardian of the dragon coffin, but I cannot leave the dragon coffin. I want to help you, but really, I'm sorry." He could feel the pain in Long Fei's heart. He wanted to help too. However, he could not leave the dragon coffin world. And then, Long Fei entered the Devil's Sword, Titan King. Titan King was also unable to save Long Fei. The entire world. Long Fei seemed to be abandoned. Watching Zhong Wushuang walk in step by step, his heart was bleeding, and his heart was tearing. "What do we do? What do we do? What should we do? What should I do?" Long Fei roared. No one answered him. "Long Fei, are you going to kneel?" Zhong Wushuang laughed complacently. Looking at the Long Fei who had a painful expression on his face, his fingers moved slightly as he pinched Jojo's chin and said, "Ah, ah." Long Fei roared in pain. Zhong Wushuang said sinisterly, "Take your undergarment off." Jojo glanced at Long Fei. He did not cry, nor did he cry. And then, with both hands, he gently undid the knot in his apron. "No." Long Fei gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. His eyes turned red. His entire body felt bloated, and his qi and blood went against the flow as they crazily rushed into his brain. His complexion was also incomparably red and his veins could be seen. Zhong Wushuang laughed and said, "Ouch, angry, angry. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, you're so angry? Feeling good?" Zhong Wushuang said excitedly. Black-robed destiny god's gaze tensed up, and he said faintly, the blood energy in his body went against the flow. "What kind of cultivation technique is this?" Zhong Wushuang disdainfully said, "Who cares what technique he uses, it's just a dead dog struggling. As long as I increase my strength a little, he'll die. Now." Zhong Wushuang looked at Jojo as he urged him, "Hurry up, I can't wait anymore, Phoenix Emperor, ha ha ha. Rest assured, after you become my woman, I will definitely not let you suffer like this." Jojo's hand moved slightly, unbuckling. The apron was about to fall off. It was also at this time. Long Fei's head turned red, like red-hot iron, and also, every single strand of his white hair turned blood-red. Enchanted. Zhong Wushuang was secretly shocked when he saw Long Fei's sudden change in situation. However, Zhong Wushuang laughed coldly, and said, "So what if I have fallen into qi deviation?" Black-robed destiny god shook his head, "It doesn't look like I'm possessed. If it's not enchantment, then what is?" Looking at Long Fei's transformation, Zhong Wushuang felt as if he had gone berserk. He had the same reaction when he was cultivating, so he knew very well. Long Fei was going berserk. He had been infuriated to the point of going berserk. For this, Zhong Wushuang laughed wildly again, and said, "So what if I go berserk? It's also a dead dog." Now, Long Fei, open your dog eyes and look clearly at how I played with your woman, ha ha ha. While they were talking, Zhong Wushuang grabbed Jojo's hair. At this moment, a loud buzzing sound could be heard. The void split apart. A drop of incredibly pure blood essence floated out from between Long Fei's eyebrows. After this drop of blood essence flew out, all the scarlet red from head to toe of his body completely disappeared. His face was pale. Her hair turned red. It was as if all of his power was contained within this drop of blood essence. Zhong Wushuang was startled. A drop of blood essence? Could it be that you want to revive with this drop of blood essence? That's not right. Black Robe Destiny God took half a step back. Feeling that something was amiss, he warned, "Be careful." Before he could finish, Long Fei glared at him furiously. The drop of blood landed on his right arm. Right arm. Dragon-shaped mark. On the ancient inheritance's imprint. His left arm was imprinted with the Ming clan, but it was only the Ming clan's mark, not the ancient inheritance's power. However, Long Fei's right arm, possessed real ancient inheritance strength. The blood essence fell. The dragon-shaped mark on his right arm let out a loud roar. The azure dragon roared and the 100,000 planes trembled crazily, as if an extremely strong energy wave had covered the entire 100,000 planes. Not only that, even the universal large world could feel this gigantic energy wave. Long Fei suddenly stood up. His entire body was pitch black as ferocious runes enveloped his entire body, and his body had grown several times larger. He looked just like an overlord of darkness. "I want you dead. Thank you for your support." Chapter 2139, First Sky. Chapter 2139, First Sky. His entire body was as black as ink. Black runes covered his body. The black energy within the dragon-shaped mark continued to be released. The power of darkness? That's not right. A power that was 1,000 times stronger than the power of darkness, and one that was 100 times stronger. Exactly what kind of power it was, Long Fei himself did not know. There was only one thought in his mind. Kill Zhong Wushuang. Kill Zhong Wushuang. As the blood flow in reverse direction and flowed into his head, Long Fei used this method to condense the purest blood in his body. Long Fei was worried that he would not be able to activate the Ming clan mark on his left arm. So, he took a chance. In the instant he condensed the blood essence, within the world of Dragon Coffin, the huge dragon crazily churned, malevolently roaring, wanting to stop Long Fei. "Brat, do you want to die? Kid, you're crazy. Stop, quickly." However, his voice could not be heard in the Dragon Coffin world, so even if it was heard by Long Fei, he would not pay any attention to him. In this world, he could not stand people bullying Jojo. From the moment he came to this world, Jojo had been bullied by others. In the past, he was bullied by the servants in the Long family, and his descendants were bullied by Nangong Yang and the others. Now, with him by his side, he would not allow anyone to bully Jojo. Therefore, Long Fei ignored everything else. As the blood essence fell, it was as if a calm lake surface had broken the tranquility of the dragon-shaped mark, and in a short moment, a huge wave that overturned the skies was set off. It was also at this time. The sleeping beauty opened her eyes slightly as tears welled up in her eyes. "My master, how much suffering do you have to go through before you end? I really want to suffer all the pain for you." "Woo woo woo." He sobbed softly. "Ah, ah." Long Fei roared. His power was increasing and his body was still growing. His entire body seemed to be shrouded in black flame steam, as if it was on fire. His current appearance looked a little similar to how one piece flew on the road. Moreover, Lu Fei's arms had just turned black, and his body had grown larger. Long Fei's entire body was black, and within the black, there was the power of runes. Buzz, buzz. The power steam hummed loudly. Towards all this that suddenly happened, Zhong Wushuang's expression became cold as he retreated one after another. His mind was in shock as he watched Long Fei's mutation, and he said, "He became a monster?" Black Robe Destiny God lightly reminded him, "Be careful, the aura on his body is not ordinary at all." While they were talking, Black Robe Destiny God took a few steps back again. Zhong Wushuang sneered and said, "So what if you become stronger? I control the power of 123 laws and I am the king of the laws of 100,000 planes. Even if you become stronger, you will be stepped on by me. Long Fei, obediently kneel down. I will spare your life." Ha ha ha. Zhong Wushuang laughed wildly, the aura on his body faintly stirred as well, and the mighty energy of the ancient code unceasingly surged. "I want you dead." Long Fei bellowed once again, and struck his palm into the air. He struck out with his palm. There were no fluctuations in the air, nor was there any impact from any power. There wasn't even any wind. The power of this palm attack instantly disappeared. Moreover, Long Fei struck out with his palm towards the sky. Zhong Wushuang laughed out loud, and said, "Long Fei, are you blind? With your current condition, you're not my match at all." Before he could finish his words, Zhong Wushuang's expression suddenly changed greatly. He looked up to the sky and saw a black palm print in the air. "That's not right. It should be a huge black sky." It was also at this time. Long Fei shouted loudly, "First heavenly layer, rumble." It crushed everything. The black sky covered 100,000 miles, replacing the original sky. It was incomparably shocking. The entire primordial war began to tremble. Main temple. Battleground. Evil God Palace. Long Fei's palm strike was felt everywhere. Dark sky. Zhong Wushuang's forehead dripped with cold sweat. The idea moved, rumble. The god's shield was summoned. Main artifact. Furthermore, it was the strongest defense main artifact in the 100,000 realms, a 9-star defense holy artifact. At the same time, Zhong Wushuang's 123 different types of powers of the ancient code were used crazily to form a law wall. With the god's shield at the core, they imprinted themselves onto it. Zhong Wushuang roared, "Any kind of power is trash in front of my god's shield, God's shield." 100,000 holy artifact S. It was also a holy artifact inherited from the ancestors of Zhong's. Contain a strong defense law. Just as Zhong Wushuang had said, out of the 100,000 planes, other than the sovereign, no other power was effective against it because it was the strongest defense. In the main temple, the gods saw what was happening through the void. The Son of God is indeed extraordinary. The god's shield has already been refined to the 9-star realm by him. Under these circumstances, I'm afraid no amount of energy will be able to harm him. So it seems that Long Fei is definitely going to die. Ha ha ha. Even if the god's shield did not exist, I believe that the godchild would still be able to crush Long Fei. Look at the more than 100 streams of law energies on his body. Who can resist the full power of this attack? No one can do it. Evil God Palace. Evil God Side. I already knew that the godchild was guarding the god's mountain. Under such circumstances, it is impossible for Long Fei to be his opponent. What a pity. What a pity. What a pity, the evil god said indifferently. Of course, if Long Fei could get through to the ancient entry, he still hoped that Long Fei would die in the hands of the godchild. He also did not wish for the third entrance to appear. Devil Island. The 8 King Kong led the people from the Devil Island to fight against the Soul Demon clan. They could also feel the dark sky above the polar sky. The 8 of them could not help but worry for Long Fei. Many people thought that Long Fei would lose and die. However, but no one knew how powerful the power he released was. Because no one had ever seen such power. He had never seen such a sight before. It was a world of darkness that spanned 1,000 miles. What kind of existence was this? Probably, only Zhong Wushuang, who was trapped in a world of darkness for 1,000 miles, would be able to feel it. Die, die. Long Fei growled. He was like a crazed devil. His mind was muddled. Zhong Wushuang bellowed, Long Fei, you won't be able to kill me. Boom. The two forces clashed. In an instant, the world seemed to have collapsed. A huge energy shockwave was released in an instant, causing the entire sky to darken. It was also at this moment that the power of the ancient code that Zhong Wushuang released was instantly crushed. The core of the wall of laws, the god's shield. It lasted less than half a second. He was blasted into smithereens. All of them were like dust in front of the endless dark time. An extremely powerful killing move. An unparalleled existence. Chapter 2140 Main Temple Collapse. Chapter 2140 Main Temple Collapse. It was like pulling apart rotten weeds. Nothing could stop it. In front of the power of darkness, all defenses were like ants struggling in the face of death. The wall of law shattered. The 9-star main artifact could not even last a second. They shattered into fine powder. At this moment, the time in the 100,000 planes seemed to come to a standstill. Almost everyone stared at the sky with their mouths wide open. Because the moment the power of the dark world erupted, the sun that was floating in the sky above the 100,000 planes suddenly appeared to devour the earth, and instantly, darkness shrouded the area. It covered the entirety of the 100,000 planes. It was also because of this instant. Main Temple's void eye only saw darkness. The evil god sensed darkness from the idea on top of the black box. Endless darkness. It was as if there was only darkness in this world. Zhong Wushuang's body trembled non-stop, his entire body was drenched in cold sweat, the *T and urine at his crotch area burst out, his lips turned white, and his eyes dimmed. Don't kill me. Long Fei, I was wrong, don't kill me, I beg you. Zhong Wushuang's lips were trembling, unable to speak properly. The arrogant him from 10 seconds ago was completely different. That palm just now destroyed everything he had. 123 laws, annihilated. It had completely disappeared from his body. The god's shields were directly smashed into smithereens. The power of a son of God was completely annihilated. His cultivation base was also destroyed. All of them were devoured by the forces of the dark world. Moreover, just above Zhong Wushuang's scalp, the first layer of darkness was floating like a large guillotine. Only with Long Fei's command did the guillotine fall. Zhong Wushuang was going to die. Long Fei panted heavily. His consciousness was still blurry. However, looking at Jojo beside him, his mind became still once again. He took off his outer garment and wrapped it around Jojo's body. And then, Long Fei's gaze turned, and stared deadly at Zhong Wushuang's body. Plop! Zhong Wushuang immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed fiercely. Long Fei, I was wrong, I will not dare, I swear that from today onwards, if I go against you, I will die a horrible death. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, they smashed their heads down. When Long Fei took a step forward, the aura on his body caused the earth to shake. The black steam was still burning crazily. Seeing Long Fei walking over, Zhong Wushuang's body trembled even more. His crotch was even more moist and he continued to speak. Long Fei, I am the son of God, I am the successor to the god, you cannot kill me. If you kill me, the god will not let you go. That's not right. Let me be a dog by your side, I am willing to fight all the battles in battleground for you. As long as you give the order, I will immediately go to main temple and kill all the gods there. Long Fei. The god hasn't returned. We will sweep through everything in the battleground, and we will immediately win over the 100,000 planes. How is it? Zhong Wushuang said anxiously. However, he didn't have any strength left right now. Forget about the power of the ancient code, he didn't even have a cultivation. He was just like an ordinary person now, without even a hint of the power of the martial arts training. Let alone the gods in the main temple, even a 10-year-old child warrior could kill him. Long Fei did not stop. He continued to walk forward. Zhong Wushuang said as his head was about to explode, Long Fei, your woman, your family, and the souls of your brothers are still in my hands. You dare to kill me. As long as you let me go, I'll let them go. What do you think? It was one thing to not talk about these, but another to talk about these. Long Fei's body suddenly trembled. He hated people threatening him with their loved ones the most in his life. Even though he was currently delirious, he knew very well what a threat was. The power of the dark world began to surge. Thunder rumbled. Ah! Long Fei roared angrily. The 10,000 miles of the dark world started to revolve, turning into a vortex within the span of a few breaths. Anger! Anger! Seeing this situation, Zhong Wushuang did not care about anything else and started running. However, a person without cultivation would run like a snail no matter how fast he ran. Fall. Boom. The black tornado suddenly came crashing down, like a black bolt of lightning directly spinning down from above Zhong Wushuang's head. Ah! 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 Zhong Wushuang screamed in pain, the veins on his entire body turned black, and his eyes became like a black hole as he screamed out, "Long Fei, you can't kill me, you can't kill me. I'm the son of God, I'm the king of the laws, you can't kill me." Rumble. The 1,000 miles of darkness all surged into Zhong Wushuang's body. Zhong Wushuang stood where he was, speechless. He couldn't even scream, it was only pain. He had never thought that he would end up like this. Just as the entire dark world was sucked into Zhong Wushuang's body, light appeared in the sky as if the solar eclipse had ended. The Eye of the Void saw everything once again. When the gods within the main temple saw that Zhong Wushuang's body was densely covered in thin black lines, they did not react for a moment. What kind of cultivation technique is this? Never seen him before. Could it be that the god-child has become stronger again? Ha ha ha. That must be it. Before they even had the chance to laugh out loud, boom. Zhong Wushuang's body exploded. His body exploded into smithereens. At the same time, the explosion stirred up the whole wastelands of the four seas. From the extreme earth as the center, the powerful shockwave from the explosion spread out, forming rings after rings that covered the entire plain of the ancient god battle. Main temple. Rumble. Rumble. The roof flew off and the huge pillar instantly broke. In that short moment, main temple collapsed. The gods in the main hall all fled while hugging their heads. He cried out in pain. Ah! 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 What kind of power is this? Ah! My God! Even main temple of the land controlled by 100,000 planes was unable to withstand such an impact and immediately collapsed. Over 100 god of law-s were so frightened that they prostrated on the ground and cried out in pain. Never. When they established the main temple, it had never appeared before. The entire 100,000 planes trembled intensely because of the collapse of the main temple. Half an hour passed. Within the Eye of the Void, Long Fei's huge voice floated in the air, as he stared straight at the main temple's gods, and heavily roared, "Fuck, who else is there?" Boom. It was incomparably shocking. The Eye of the Void shattered. The 10,000 gods were so scared that they didn't dare to move at all, and their minds were almost crushed by Long Fei. Too terrifying. But after the Eye of the Void shattered, Long Fei's eyes closed, and his entire person dropped down from the sky, as he muttered, "Since Jojo is safe, then I won't have any regrets in death." Chapter 2141 Exchanging Lives for Lives. Chapter 2141 Exchanging Lives for Lives. The Ming clan imprint had already overdrawn his life. Long Fei did not know what the side effects of overdrawing his blood essence were, but he had to protect Jojo, and protect him with all his might. Therefore, right now, his blood flow was reversed, and the last bit of his blood essence, the ancient inheritance, was activated. Of course, Long Fei did not know. That palm strike of his, first sky of dark world, actually could not even compare to the strength of ancient inheritance. Right now, even if he poured all his blood essence into the dragon-shaped mark, he would still be unable to activate the power of the ancient inheritance. The power of the ancient inheritance on his body was too strong. Long Fei closed his eyes slightly, and the world slowly inverted. He smiled lightly at Jojo, and in the end, bam! It fell to the ground. The instant his eyes closed, his mind suddenly became tense. Because, at that moment, he saw Black-Robe Destiny God take off his cape, revealing a sinister face. Crap! Another Black-Robe Destiny God has forgotten. Long Fei's heart trembled, but at this time, it was as if his entire body was shrinking. His body was like a deflated balloon, and his energy was leaking out crazily from his body. His strength rapidly decreased. Jojo ran over and shouted loudly, young master, young master. Long Fei said in his heart, black-robe destiny god should no longer be able to control the laws of fate, and he shouldn't be Jojo's match, right? Jojo, you must live on. Finally. He focused his mind. He fell into a coma. Long Fei didn't know whether he was about to die or not, because he could no longer feel the existence of anything. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Zhong Wushuang for obtaining 1 billion experience, 100 million holy power value, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 123 elementary laws. Do you wish to fuse them? Ding. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for reaching the peak of the 9th level of the God Realm, reaching the highest level of 100,000 planes. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward. The reward item Power of Rebirth has been activated. The system sounded out continuously. Long Fei's consciousness gradually became fuzzy. He was no longer able to issue commands or activate or integrate any cultivation techniques. He was like a dead man now. When he heard the words Power of Rebirth, his mind was slightly startled. He desperately tried to activate it, but no matter how much he roared hysterically, his orders were useless. He could no longer control the system. No rebirth. The god's immortal bead was also silent. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Am I finally going to die? Long Fei's self-deprecating voice continuously sounded in the air. He was not afraid of death. Even if death came, he was still prepared. But when death truly came, his heart was filled with desolation, and he didn't do many things he wanted to do. Liu Luoshi, Qianqian. Many women have not been rescued. His people from the Long family, his grandfather and brothers had still not been saved. 14th dragon ancestor has not been saved. The main temple had not been overthrown. He really couldn't accept it. He really couldn't accept it. However, he was going to die now. Long Fei laughed bitterly. Although there are many regrets, this life of mine is worth it. Ha ha ha. God, thank you for giving me that experience. It's so King cool, ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed madly. While he was laughing maniacally, suddenly, his idea was suddenly pulled away by a powerful force. In the next second, a world of dragon coffin appeared. Long Fei had never seen the gigantic world of dragon coffin so clearly before, but now he realized. The cultivation world of dragon coffin was like a huge coffin. Could it be? Is the dragon coffin my own coffin? Ha ha ha. Sure. A huge dragon. From now on, you are my tomb keeper, ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed. Roar. The huge dragon roared with some anger and said heavily, Brat, do you want to die? It's not that easy. Dragon Manor, Mu Clan, Universal Large World, Ancient World is still waiting for you. Do you want to die? No way, do you know? Long Fei laughed bitterly. It's a pity that the life and death school isn't controlled by you. Who said that I'm not in control? Your life and death gate are in my hands. You're right, this dragon coffin cultivation world is a huge coffin. The coffin for you. The colossal dragon said in a deep voice. While they were talking, the huge dragon roared, and the dragon coffin world began to tremble. The colossal dragon moved. The power of the dragon god's soul essence was released from his body, and like a bright sun, it floated in the air above the dragon coffin world. Long Fei was slightly shocked as he asked, Giant Dragon, what are you trying to do? The colossal dragon looked at Long Fei and said, Kid, you shouldn't be making your conclusion here. Your path is still very long. Do you know? Long Fei had a bad premonition and shouted, What are you trying to do? What exactly do you want to do? The colossal dragon laughed, I was very happy to be by your side these past few days, and also thank Master for arranging for me to become your guardian. Now my time is up. The ominous premonition grew stronger and stronger. Long Fei said heavily, Giant Dragon, don't do anything stupid. The colossal dragon ignored him and said, Brat, listen carefully. I will use my life to bear the pain from your body, but I know that I won't be able to endure much. The pain in your body will still persist. Long Fei shook his head and said, "Giant dragon, I don't need that." Without waiting for Long Fei to explain, the huge dragon roared, "Do you understand? Supreme dragon cultivation technique. Using one's life in exchange for another." However, compared to Long Fei's life, the life of a huge dragon was not worth much. Even if he used a technique that risked his life, the colossal dragon could only help Long Fei take a small amount of damage. Furthermore, he wouldn't be able to endure it for long. Long Fei shook his head with all his might. However, the dragon coffin world suddenly moved. Buzz! The shining solar dragon god's soul essence fiercely rushed into Long Fei's body. The colossal dragon's voice rang out, "Young master, you must work hard to cultivate, you must complete all the cultivation methods in the dragon coffin world. Remember, you must persevere on your fearless heart's." "Definitely. I'm ready, I'm starting." Rumble. The dragon cry shook the sky and roared, and immediately after, the pain from Long Fei's body swiftly poured into the colossal dragon's body. The colossal dragon's body continued to crack. He couldn't bear it. Long Fei's body slowly woke up, his heart was crying blood. Seeing the colossal dragon's body crazily exploding, Long Fei gritted his teeth and roared out hysterically, "Activate the power of rebirth. Thank you for your support." Chapter 2142, The Rise of Black-Robe Destiny God. Chapter 2142, The Rise of Black-Robe Destiny God. The huge dragon helped Long Fei offset a portion of the damage, restoring Long Fei's consciousness by quite a bit. Thus, the power to activate the system's reward was also the only one-time effect. Power of rebirth. The heaven and earth spun, and Long Fei seemed to sink into a gigantic whirlpool. The colossal dragon's body continued to explode, and the essence of the shining solar dragon slowly dissipated. In the end, he saw the colossal dragon's smiling face. "Young master, don't worry about me, this is my reincarnation. Once you enter the universal large world, maybe we will have a chance to meet again. Young master, the dragon manor is waiting for your return, this Mu clan is waiting for you, and this ancient world is also waiting for you." Ha ha ha. Laughing wildly. Finally, the entire dragon head exploded, and the shining solar dragon god's soul also disappeared. Long Fei's consciousness closed. He fell into a coma, but his mind was in pain as he said, "I'm sorry. Using one's life in exchange for another. The dragon sacrificed itself for him. Long Fei owed him a life. If he could meet him again in Universal Large World, Long Fei would definitely repay him. Definitely. The intense tremors in the world of darkness ended. The main temple's plain was a mess. The main temple that had stood for millions of years was collapsing. The myriad gods on the surface of the main temple were in an incomparably sorry state, each of them lying on the ground like stray dogs. After the vibration ended, they finally dared to get up from the ground, but all of their faces were extremely ugly to behold. His heart trembled. The force had scared them, and for the first time in thousands of years they were afraid. What kind of power is it? Is this Long Fei's strongest power? Never seen it before. What happened to the main temple? What happened there? Who can tell me? Where's the Son of God? The gods were in a state of panic. In the absence of sovereigns, when the divine sons had perished, the areas under the control of the 100,000 planes had been thrown into chaos. However, this also gave the evil god a chance. Inside the battleground, the evil god seized this opportunity to counterattack and fought crazily for the battleground's territory. He continuously sent reports of victory and chased the main temple's forces to another side. The evil god was exceptionally excited. "Ha ha ha. Good boy. You really are my lucky general. Master, with such a huge energy wave, how do you think Long Fei is doing? Would it open up ancient entry?" The evil god's forehead tightened. After pondering for a moment, he said, "That's impossible. The last bit of energy that exploded outwards. I sensed that it was all of his strength, just like the power of the explosion of a divine spark. I'm afraid Long Fei no longer exists in this world. Even if the ancient entry were to open it, it would be useless. although the evil god did not see it with his own eyes. However, he was an existence whose cultivation was second only to the sovereign. He could clearly feel that all the profound spirit qi in Long Fei's body had been exhausted. This meant that Long Fei's lifespan was running out, and he would die no matter how strong the energy was channeled into him. Sigh. What a pity. Such a genius has fallen just like that. What a pity, such a pity. Ha ha ha. Finally, the evil god laughed out loud. And then, with a cold glare, he shouted, "Chase after them now and snatch the battleground away from me in one go. We will replace the main temple and become the paragons of the 100,000 planes. You will also become the pinnacle of this world, becoming the god of law. Kill them all." Boom, boom, boom. Smoke rose up from all over battleground. In another place, in the darkness of the polar region, Jojo held Long Fei's body, and his tears had already dried. The other person did not leave. Black Robe Destiny God. When Long Fei released the first sky, he suddenly disappeared. He thought that he would die, but he didn't think that all of his powers would be used on Zhong Wushuang. Zhong Wushuang was also instantly killed, and even a 9-star main artifact also crumbled. The power was like a nightmare. Seeing Jojo holding Long Fei's body, Black Robe Destiny God took off his cape, revealing an incomparably sinister face. Bare head. On the back of his head was a string of red runes, making him look like an alien monster. Ah, ha, ha. Long Fei, you too will have such a day. Ha ha ha. Black Robe Destiny God laughed out wildly. Jojo hugged Long Fei tightly, completely unmoved by Black Robe Destiny God's wild laughter. Black Robe Destiny God also did not move forward. He could clearly feel that Long Fei was already dead. Moreover, what he needed to do now was not to destroy Long Fei's corpse, he needed to return to the peak of the world. Energy exploded from his body one after another, enveloping an area of over 10,000 kilometers buzz. It was as though a formation had been formed. Then, Black Robe Destiny God's eyes turned sinister as a sharp light shot out from them. With a heavy roar, he said, "The heavens and earth will be filled with all sorts of methods. Go." Boom, boom, boom. Gigantic bolts of lightning descended from the sky as thick bolts of lightning wreaked havoc on top of Black Robe Destiny God's head. Inside the power formation, the power of the ancient code that hadn't completely disappeared condensed together and was absorbed into the Black Robe Destiny God's body by a powerful force. Boom. Ha ha ha. The law of fate has returned. Boom. The power of the God's Mountain's defense law is back. Boom. The power of the soul controlling is back. Boom, boom, boom. A string of berserk and recovery powers of the ancient code circulated within the Black Robe Destiny God's body. The 123 types of power of the ancient code that had disappeared from Zhong Wushuang's body once again appeared. Half an hour passed. The power of 123 law energies revolved Black Robe Destiny God's body, circulating. Not only that, his face had changed. It had turned into the appearance of Zhong Wushuang. Zhong Wushuang's soul had also been captured by him. Ha ha ha. Flesh. My physical body, a perfect physical body, ha ha ha. Black Robe Destiny God laughed crazily again, and said, "Zhong Wushuang, you are only my pawn, ha ha ha. Right now, everything that you have is mine. I am the king of laws, and I am the new god. Ha ha ha." The Black Robe Destiny God took away everything that Zhong Wushuang had. The world shook. Finally, Black Robe Destiny God looked at the Jojo who had a deathly still expression, and disdainfully sneered. He did not act. Because, since Long Fei was already dead, he was no longer important. Now, restore my status. Main temple. I'm here. Black Robe Destiny God turned into a streak of light and disappeared into the horizon. Only Jojo and Long Fei were left in the darkness. Jojo looked at the incomparably pale Long Fei, and muttered, "Young master, let me accompany you." Chapter 2143, The New God. Chapter 2143, The New God Main Temple. Boom. A figure walked out from the void. The gods were stunned. Who? They had never seen this person before. Took off his black robe and revealed his face. He laughed coldly. Gods, long time no see. Who are you? Why do you have such a huge power of law on your body? Who exactly are you? The gods stared at the floating black-robed destiny god. The black-robed destiny god laughed coldly and said, "Who I am is not important. What is important is that I will soon be the god of this world." How arrogant. You're courting death. The laws of the earth moved, crushing everything in his path with his earthen energy. At this moment, black-robed destiny god's finger lightly moved, and the power of the earth laws similarly moved as well, directly crushing the earth law god on the ground and making him unable to move. It was also the power of the laws of the earth, but the black-robed destiny god's power of the laws was much stronger. Suddenly, a few more god of law suddenly walked forward. He was also suppressed by the same law energy, so he wasn't a match for it. The current destiny god was completely different from the previous destiny god. The power of the 123 law energies that he controlled was also much stronger than when Zhong Wushuang was controlling it. Even if all the god of law-s added up, they were still not his match. Continuous failure. Fear appeared in the eyes of the gods. You are the son of God. The black-robed destiny god smiled faintly. I've said it before, who I am is not important. The important thing is that Long Fei died in my hands, so I will become the new sovereign, and all of you must listen to me. Listen to you? A deity was filled with disdain. Who do you think you are? Lord God is about to come back soon. When he comes back, you're going to. Not waiting for him to finish. Black robe destiny god's eyes twitched. He opened his hand and clenched it. Boom. That deity's body suddenly exploded from being crushed. His divine spark had been shattered. His soul was directly sucked into the black robe destiny god's body, and he said with a cold smile, "You won't listen to me, this is what happens to you." God of Law was easily killed in an instant. How strong was this? The gods were afraid. Black robe destiny god said, "Is there anyone else who doesn't want to listen to me?" The gods were silent. Black robe destiny god laughed wildly and said, "Tell Lord God to come listen." The gods were quiet for half a second, then a thin voice sounded out, "Lord God. You haven't eaten, right?" Boom. A powerful pressure came crushing down, causing the faces of all the gods to redden as they shouted at the same time, "Lord God." Ha ha ha. Very good. Black robe destiny god laughed loudly. This feeling was extremely pleasurable to him. Even in his dreams he dreamed of becoming a sovereign, becoming the controller of 100,000 planes. Now, he was one step away. At this time, one of the gods asked carefully, "Lord God, you said that Long Fei was killed by you?" Black robe destiny god smiled slightly. "That's right, he is already dead. He is no longer a threat to main temple." Really? All of them were slightly overjoyed. Black robe destiny god said, "How could I lie to you?" He had seen it with his own eyes, and also personally felt that Long Fei's lifespan was running out. One must know that he was once the controller of the laws of fate, so his understanding of fate was the clearest amongst the 100,000 planes. If Long Fei had not died, he definitely would not have left. Another god asked, "What does Lord God want us to do?" The black robe destiny god smiled, "It's simple. I want you two to follow me from the ancient entry into the battleground, and kill off all of the main temples and evil god palaces forces. I want to become a true god, and become the ruler of the 100,000 planes." This was what he had to do. How strong was God Hong Tu? Destiny God knew about it tens of millions of years ago, but what about now? Sovereigns had disappeared from the 100,000 planes for millions of years. After having entered the outer reaches, how powerful had he become? Not at all. However, he knew clearly that as long as he could control the battleground, he would become a new sovereign. Even if Hong Tu returned, he wouldn't be able to shake him. With this step, it was useless for anyone to come back. The sovereign hadn't returned. Ancient entry had already been cleared. As long as Black Robe Destiny God took this step, he would win. The fisherman profited. He was as steady as an old dog, sitting and enjoying everything. The gods were slightly shocked. Enter the ancient entry. Black Robe Destiny God's gaze darkened as he coldly asked, What? Don't you want to? Willing. We are willing. They were extremely afraid of death. If they didn't want to, the result would be death. Black Robe Destiny God said, "Don't worry, when I become a true sovereign, you will all receive more than you currently do. All right. Now, follow me to the extreme darkness, and we will enter the ancient entry together." He was not finished. Suddenly, the hundreds of thousands of planes were shaken, the main temple swayed again, even the gods could not stand steadily. This was not a huge impact, but the main temple's foundation was shaking. What's going on? What happened? Why is the main temple's plane shaking so badly? Black Robe Destiny God frowned, his expression suddenly changed. Polar darkness. Crap. The ancient entry was taken first. It's her. The main temple's foundation shook. There was only one possibility for such a thing to happen. The third entrance of the battleground had appeared. In other words, someone from ancient entry seized it first. Black Robe Destiny God also immediately thought of Jojo in the extreme darkness. That's impossible, she's clearly on the verge of death. It's impossible for her to suddenly recover and seize ancient entry. Jojo's heart felt like it was going to die. Black Robe Destiny God did not kill her because she was about to commit suicide. Long Fei's death was too much of a shock to her. But now, Black Robe Destiny God's face sank, the anger in his heart soared to the skies, and he said solemnly, "You're courting death. Ancient entry is mine. No one can take it away from me." Shua. He suddenly disappeared and turned into a stream of light, shooting into the extreme darkness of the 100,000 planes. Not long after Black Robe Destiny God left, Jojo wanted to die. He died together with Long Fei. But Long Fei suddenly took a deep breath and woke up. Jojo cried tears of joy. Long Fei felt as if he had had a very long dream in which he was reborn. He tried his best to level up, to break through, to level up without caring about anything else. It was as if he had traveled through the gods' martial continent and then walked once more. When he reached the peak of 100,000 planes, he suddenly woke up. The attributes of his strength, cultivation, and physical defense returned to normal. It was also at this moment that he suddenly realized that the so-called power of rebirth was resurrection. After the revival, the first thing Long Fei did was to enter the black-eyed space on the altar. Inside the ancient entry. Chapter 2144 Opening of the Ancient Entry, 3rd Autarch. Chapter 2144 Opening of the Ancient Entry, 3rd Autarch. Remember the pain. Long Fei now thought of one thing, to enter the battleground. Overthrow the main temple. He would destroy 100,000 planes, complete his 100,000 interviews and training journey, and then enter the universal large whirl. On the altar was a black and white primal chaos diagram. What he destroyed was the black eye in white, it was also the black eye space. Is this ancient entry? Long Fei did not know either, only by going in could he find out. If he made a mistake, it would be rolling his eyes. Young master, I've never seen the runes in this space before, they shouldn't be the words on 100,000 slots. Jojo muttered as he looked at the dense tadpole-like text on both sides of the corridor. Even she could not understand. Long Fei was even more confused. The ancient god battle's polar region is already extraordinary. The mutated demon beastess in the polar regions, the Ming claness that descended from the polar plains, the soul demon claness, and the altars in the darkness. It can be said that no place is normal. Moreover, the feeling that this place gave Long Fei was something left behind by the outer space powerhouse. The Ming clan elder once said, this 100,000 dimensions were once perfected by the Ming claness. Just perfect. Was not completely created by the Ming claness. And then again. Battleground. It was a very special existence, and it was not controlled by any other powers, nor was it controlled by the main temple. If it was controlled by Hong too, why would it let the threat stay by its side? Obviously. Battleground had appeared when the 100,000 planes were first formed. It was used to restrict the existence of the strongest power in the 100,000 planes, the main temple. No matter who it was that became a sovereign, It could not cover the sky with one hand. As long as one entered the battleground, they could change everything. It was also because of the existence of the battleground. The entrance to the hegemony was the most important thing. No one wanted the entrance to exist. Jojo was startled for a moment, and said, "Are you saying that these are the foreign language? Then, could this passage lead to an outside world and not to the battleground?" Long Fei stopped and thought for a few seconds, then said, "That's possible. The ancient alien protects this entrance, and it's also possible that this is an entrance that isn't allowed to enter by the 100,000 plane powerhouse." Long Fei thought of a pair of black and white, and thought to himself, "The black and white eyes will each lead to a different place. I just don't know which direction will lead to battleground." The two continued their journey. The corridor was dark and gradually descended. Long Fei and Jojo walked for 4 hours before the narrow corridor finally grew big. A circular plaza was right in front of Long Fei, and a door pasted onto the seal was right in front of them. "Be careful," Long Fei reminded as he slowly walked forward. There was also a huge 8-trigram diagram on the plaza. It was similar to the diagram on the altar, but the runes engraved on it were more concentrated. The power within the runes gave Long Fei a stronger feeling. Adding the seal S on the stone door, Long Fei felt that this 8-trigrams diagram seemed to be protecting something. What was behind the stone door? Passing through the plaza, and not encountering anything along the way, Long Fei and Jojo arrived in front of the stone door. "Those who enter will die." There were 4 big words carved on top of the stone door. Jojo said slightly, "Young master, there's something wrong with the aura behind the stone door." Long Fei also felt it. It was just like opening a stone door, in which a prehistoric beast would rush out and become unstoppable. However, since he had already reached this step, Long Fei had no other choice. Even if this place didn't lead to battleground, Long Fei could only go and slap his eyes again. "Stand back," Long Fei warned her. Jojo did not move, and said, "I don't want it." She didn't want to see Long Fei become like that again, and didn't want to carry that ice-cold corpse of his anymore. Even if she had to die, she had to die for Long Fei. After Long Fei woke up, he didn't say a single word about what had happened. Jojo did not ask either. But she felt that Long Fei must have experienced something to become this cold, something that even she felt. "Who?" Long Fei exhaled, walked to the seal on the door and said softly, "No matter what is behind this, no one wants my life." While they were talking, boom, Long Fei threw a punch. The stone door remained unmoved. There was not even a single scar left, and Long Fei's strength did not cause the slightest bit of injury. Long Fei was startled. "Seal defense. That depends on how strong you are." Long Fei waved his right hand. The blade of main god dropped down and slashed forward with his blade. At this moment, when the blade of main god touched the stone door, it seemed to have a huge suction force that directly sucked out the blade of main god. Long Fei was caught off guard. The blade of main god sucked on the stone door. Buzz, buzz. When the blade of main god entered the stone door, many of the seal runes on the stone door disappeared. Heh! Devouring main artifact. Long Fei's heart sank. "Damn it, this is my fault." Another punch. It was useless again. Jojo slightly said, "Young master, does that mean that only the power of main god can be unlocked? Do you want to try using my sword?" Jojo said as he walked forward, and then threw the sword he had brought out from the Ming clan's hidden weapon pavilion. Clang. There was no reaction at all. The seal on the stone door completely ignored it. Jojo picked up the sword and said, "Young master, it seems that it is only interested in the main artifact." Long Fei frowned. He was secretly complaining in his heart, "Can you not be so ruthless? I only have 2 main artifact." Sigh. Why didn't the god's shield drop it? Long Fei was very frustrated. After summoning his Dong Huang clock and refining 20 of them into main artifact S, he had a faint feeling that they had something to do with the ancient entry. It was true. When the Dong Huang clock was taken out, it was completely beyond Long Fei's control, and it was directly sucked in. The stone door twisted. Like mercury, the Dong Huang clock was slowly swallowed. The runes on the stone door started to disappear one by one, but the 4 big words "those who enter the door will die" were still there. Half a minute later, the runes on the stone door completely disappeared, the seal disappeared, and it turned into a normal stone door in a flash. He just needed to gently push it away. Jojo walked forward and said, "Young master, let me do it." Without waiting for her to walk forward, Long Fei pulled her close and hugged her tightly. He whispered in her ear, "If anything happens to me, all of you should leave the primordial divine war dimension and find a way to go to my father's place." Finished. Pulling Jojo, Long Fei suddenly pushed open the stone door and walked in. The stone door opened. A strong light burst out from the gap. Long Fei's figure did not disappear. Jojo cried out in alarm, "Young master." At the same time, Long Fei, who was behind the stone door, was accustomed to the strong light. As he looked inside, the corner of his mouth slightly raised up and he excitedly laughed, "It's here." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for clearing ancient entry. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining ancient entry. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for becoming the master of ancient entry, and becoming the 3rd hegemon of the 100,000 planes. Ding, thank you for your support. Chapter 2145, Overturning the World. Chapter 2145, Overturning the World. The system beeped crazily. It was all about the ancient entry. After the numerous system beep were finished, Long Fei could clearly feel that there was a power within his body, and that this power was like a door. A door that can be summoned at will. The main gate of the ancient entry. Long Fei stood within a mountain deep in the battleground plane, felt the aura of the battleground plane, and lightly said, "I'm finally here, battleground, a place that defied the will of the heavens." To overthrow the control of 100,000 planes, the only way to overthrow the main temple was to dominate them. This was the only way to do it. Jojo also walked in the door, and stood behind Long Fei. Looking at Long Fei's back, her heart was incomparably moved. From the moment he entered the God's martial continent, Long Fei wanted to get rid of all restraints, and not let anything go. When his power reached such a level, the appearance of the God's general, and the forceful suppression of the Chaos realm, along with the appearance of the shadow of main God, made him feel extremely unhappy. He wanted to control over the 100,000 dimensions in his own hands. He wanted to make sure that the people around him were never controlled by anything. Life force is also good. Be it strength or strength, everything had to be limitless. Now, Long Fei was just one step away from all of this. Dominating. After a long time, Jojo asked, "Young master, what should we do next?" Although he had cleared the ancient entry and seized the rights to the 3rd entrance, Long Fei had also become the 3rd overlord of the battleground. However, whether it was the main temple or the evil god palace, both were extremely powerful, and could easily suppress the existence of Long Fei. If he wanted to gain a foothold in the battleground, Long Fei still had a lot of ways to go. Not only that, be it the main temple's power or the evil god palace's power, they would definitely not allow Long Fei to grow. Absolutely not. Also, when the 3rd entrance of the battleground was opened, the 100,000 dimensional realm powerhouse looked even more covetously at him. Everyone wanted to become the overlord of the 3rd entrance. The evil god and the others couldn't deal with it. There was even less of a need to talk about sovereigns, but they would never let go of the newly promoted overlord Long Fei. Whoever could kill Long Fei could become the overlord of the 3rd entrance. They could even lead their clansmen into the battleground and control 100,000 planes. It was not impossible. Cultivating for what reason? To put it bluntly, this was a point, fighting for supremacy, becoming the ruler of the world, immortal and immortal. The 3rd entrance was open, and Long Fei was pushed to the heart of the struggle. Everyone in the 100,000 dimensional realm wanted his life. Long Fei looked into the distance, and said indifferently, "Return to Devil Island, look for Brother Qi. Then, to overturn this world." Finished. Long Fei turned and walked out of the stone door with Jojo following behind him. After he walked out of the stone door disappeared. Now, Long Fei could summon an ancient entry anywhere, just like the entrance that the evil god used to call out. The instant the stone door closed, the 100,000 planes all began to tremble violently. The sounds of thunder from the 9 heavens resounded through the air like the roars of a monster. Roar, 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 mad. The 100,000 planes were also in an uproar. The third entrance has been broken through. The ancient entry has been broken through. In 10 million years, the third entrance has appeared. Seems like the third force has appeared in battleground. This is going to be fun. Ha ha ha. Main Temple was in a panic. His foundation began to shake even more violently. Impossible. Didn't he say that Long Fei is already dead? How could the ancient entry be broken through? It's impossible. Who is it? Evil God Palace. The evil god's face was also filled with shock. He had clearly felt Long Fei's death, but why did the ancient entry still get opened up? The space between his eyebrows was locked. If he wanted to fight Long Fei in the battleground, his heart would have sunk a little. Immediately. The evil god immediately shouted, "Men, immediately investigate who opened the third entrance and find out where it was born." Each entrance has a specific location. The battleground was not big, so finding a specific location wasn't difficult. Once found, they could be prepared in advance. A war general flew out. The evil god's eyes were sinister as he said, "Send someone to the main temple to ask them if they want to join hand." All the generals in the hall were slightly shocked. A general asked, "Sir, a newly advanced overlord should not be a threat at all. Why are you allying with main temple?" "That's right. What can Long Fei do? This is the battleground. If he dares to enter, his power will be restricted as well. I don't care how strong he is outside, but here. Humph. It's not his place to do whatever he wants." "You're right. Victory does not mean anything. Moreover, he was cheating in the previous battle. He won the battle by scheming." The other generals were puzzled. They did not care about a mere Long Fei. You have to understand that this is the battleground, and there is a certain type of restriction placed on this place by some kind of strong power. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to unleash your power. Everyone only had a few cultivation techniques and skills. What could he do? Then again, they had been in the battleground for thousands of years, and over the course of 10,000 years, they had become familiar with every nook and cranny of the battleground. Here, it was not the turn of a rookie to make the decision. The evil god's eyes trembled, and said coldly, "That's because you all simply don't understand Long Fei. From a god's martial continent whose veins are blocked, a trash that can't cultivate, to the third overlord of the battleground, who can do that? This kind of person. Either it's for my use, or kill them all." A trace of killing intent flashed through the evil god's eyes. He felt some regret in his heart. Back then, he should have killed Long Fei when he was still in Chaos Realm. Now, even the evil god himself did not have 100% assurance that he could kill Long Fei. After all, the current Long Fei was no longer the Long Fei of the past. She wanted to kill him? It was too difficult. A war general clasped his hands and said, "As you command, I will make a trip to main temple." The world was shaking, and the 100,000 planes of the world were surging with undercurrents as well. Countless powerhouse rushed into the primordial divine war dimension. Especially the divinity. Countless ancient families began to stir. The colorful fairy dragon was also secretly shocked. "Good boy, you really did not disappoint our dragon race, ha ha ha. Come. It's time for divinity's dragon race to show their might, ha ha ha." Then, 10,000 dragons roared on the Dragon God Mountain. The colorful fairy dragon shouted, "Follow me into the ancient war god." Long Fei. Long Fei and Yu Yang walked out of the black-eyed corridor and returned to the sacrificial altar in the extreme darkness. Long Fei rolled his eyes at the sight of this. Long Fei could faintly feel it. He couldn't sense anything. Jojo muttered to himself and said, "Black Eyes is ancient entry, then where does Black Eyes lead to?" Before he could finish, a loud voice descended from the sky, "The hell that leads to you." Chapter 2146, You Bastard. Chapter 2146, You Bastard. The voice was filled with immense power. The pressure of the law also exploded. Jojo's body moved, and he almost couldn't withstand it anymore. His face flushed red, and his breathing became hurried. Long Fei raised his eyes and supported Jojo. Immediately, the pressure on Jojo's mind immediately disappeared. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions rang, and a black figure landed on the ground. The entire extreme earth began to tremble violently. His eyes turned sinister as he stared at Long Fei, his hatred soaring to the skies, and said, "Long Fei, you're not dead yet?" Black Robe Destiny God. Long Fei looked at him, her eyes trembling slightly. Golden light flashed around the black robe. The golden light of a boss. Jojo said, "After you fainted, he absorbed all of the power of Zhong Wushuang's body. He now controls 123 types of power of laws. And stronger than Zhong Wushuang." Long Fei squinted his eyes and laughed. "Destiny God, why don't you know to cherish your fate when you control it? In Chaos Realm, you almost died, and in Devil Island, only your soul remained. Now that your body has been reconstituted and you have recovered your strength, why don't you understand and cherish it?" He's even running to his death. Every single thing that Long Fei said was a sore spot in Destiny God's heart. Anger raged. Destiny God bellowed, "Long Fei, if you don't die, I won't rest. You were clearly dead just now, why are you still alive? Since you've died again, I'll grant your wish." 123 law energies. Rumble. When Long Fei was still alive, the Destiny God was filled with rage. He had to kill Long Fei. If it wasn't for Long Fei, how did he become such a ghost? Like a stray dog. If it was said that Long Fei was the inner demon of Zhong Wushuang, then Long Fei was also his Destiny God's nightmare. The 123 ancient laws, like giant chains of laws, wildly exploded out from Destiny God's back, directly rushing towards Long Fei. Very powerful. It was much stronger than when Zhong Wushuang was controlling the power of 123 laws. Long Fei, however, was not afraid. Seeing the power of 123 law energies pouncing towards him, Long Fei moved his idea, power of the shadows. Boom. The dragon-shaped mark moved. A black light shot out. He directly pounced towards Destiny God. Destiny God smirked and said coldly, "The power of the shadows, Zero Seal, right? Come on." Destiny God stood still and didn't move at all. Long Fei felt that something was wrong. Since the Destiny God knows about the Zero Seal, then he should know about the power of the Zero Seal. At this moment, Long Fei also quickly rushed forward, his fists sinking, blasting fists. If his power of darkness was sealed to Destiny God, then this move of his, blasting fist, would be able to instantly kill Destiny God. Humph. Destiny God said with a cold sweat, "Your strength. It's not enough." His figure transformed. The instant the power of darkness descended, Destiny God turned his body into a soul and teleported out like a ray of golden light. Spiritual body? The physical body had become a spirit body. Long Fei did not expect this. Furthermore, the speed of this transformation was extremely fast, so Long Fei did not have time to react at all. The blasting fist descended. The body of the Destiny God was directly smashed into smithereens. However, the Destiny God with a spirit body did not receive the slightest bit of damage. Moreover, when Long Fei released his hidden strength, his holy power value had already been completely used up. He no longer had the slightest bit of holy power value. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, the hidden power must have consumed all of your holy power value, right? You can't release any of your cultivation techniques, right? Ha ha ha. My soul controlling has been cultivated to the highest level, just to deal with your hidden strength. In addition, do you know why I know about your power of darkness? Because of the Ancient Legion. They are also people that I sent to the Deep Abyss Mountain. Ha ha ha. In order to kill you, I put in all my effort. I initially thought that Zhong Wushuang, the godchild, would be able to kill you, so I supported him. He's just a piece of trash, he doesn't know how to use the power of law, and he doesn't even know how terrifying you are. But everything is good now, everything is mine, Zhong Wushuang is mine, and so is you, Long Fei, ha ha ha. Once you die, I will become the third hegemon. The various gods of Main Temple will follow me into the battleground to wipe out the forces and the evil god palace. I will become the new sovereign. Zhong Wushuang laughed proudly. He was like a madman, falling into madness. Long Fei looked up at the destiny god in the sky, smiled lightly, and said, "You are destined to be a tragedy." Huh? Destiny god's eyes turned sinister as he asked, "Who did you say was the tragedy?" Long Fei disdainfully said, "You." Ha ha ha. Destiny god laughed out loud, and said, "Long Fei, you're going to die soon." As soon as he finished, the power of law on Destiny god's body rushed out like a surging flood. Ocean of laws. Long Fei, die. Law of the sea. The Destiny god was the ruler. Seeing such a turbulent sea of laws howling towards him, Jojo's expression tightened, and said, "Young master." Jojo knew what Long Fei was thinking. Long Fei was going to use his own blood essence to stimulate the hidden strength in his body. Indeed, this was what Long Fei was doing. Long Fei's expression was gloomy, a streak of blood essence condensed out from his finger. "I will definitely not flip through the mistakes I made at the beginning. Absolutely not. Absolutely not." When he killed the Golden Light large alien, Long Fei had used too much of his own blood essence, to the point that, in the end, he had the colossal dragon exchange its life for his own. This was the pain in Long Fei's heart. He would not allow such a thing to happen again. Ming Clan Mark. Dark Blade. His body moved, and the power of the Ming Clan imprint on his left arm started to surge out. He used his hand as a blade. Buzz. Long Fei's left arm ignited, forming a black flame. Raising his eyes and staring at the soul in midair, his figure shot into the sky. It disappeared. Destiny god's expression changed. What kind of power? He had seen this power in the God's Mountain before, but he thought that this power also needed to be activated using his holy power value. There was no need at all. In the void, Long Fei's voice sounded, "The power that will take your life." It tore through the skies. He appeared in front of the Destiny God spirit body. The Destiny God was shocked. Her hands quickly formed a seal. "Law Guardian." "Too late. Break for me." The saber slashed down. The power of the Ming Clan's mark shot out, directly splitting the spirit body of the Destiny God into two. Destiny God released waves of ferocious screams. Ah! 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 The power of law within his body crazily surged out, completely out of his control. "Can't we kill you this time?" Long Fei growled. "You bastard, explode." Chapter 2147, The Sovereign has returned. Chapter 2147, The Sovereign has returned. "You won't die this time?" F***CK. Long Fei roared. The Destiny God wanted to kill Long Fei. However, in Long Fei's heart, wasn't it too? If it were not for Destiny God, how could he have stirred up so much trouble? Zhong Wushuang was long dead. If it wasn't for Destiny God, the giant dragon wouldn't even need to trade his life for it. Everything was because of him. Thus, when Long Fei released his power of darkness, he had already thought of everything. Even if he had to use his blood essence to activate the power of the dragon-shaped mark, he wouldn't hesitate. He wanted to kill Destiny God. It was to kill. Ah! Long Fei. Long Fei, I won't forgive you even if I become a ghost. Absolutely not. Ah! Rumble. An explosion sounded in the air. The gash on the Destiny God's spirit body had reached the bottom, and his body was also frantically rupturing. Ding. The system beep rang. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Destiny God, for obtaining 1 billion experience, 1 billion holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining defense laws power. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining soul controlling's power. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the law of fate. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining laws of the earth. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining The system beep crazily exploded. It lasted for an entire 3 minutes before it stopped. 123 law energies all exploded outwards. The most surprising thing was, all of these powers of the ancient code were at their peak strength. There was simply no need for Long Fei to cultivate any more. They were all at their peak strength, in the highest realm. This was because Destiny God's control over them was different from Zhong Wushuang's. Cultivate. Cultivate. All of you, train. Long Fei moved and cultivated all 123 different types of power of the ancient code. A moment later, there was a stream of light coiling around his body, constantly coiling around him, just like the 2 rays of light inside the heavenly phoenix demonic armor of the legend of Hot Blood, revolving around his body. It was an incomparably cool scene. Adding on the time laws, killing principle, sky principle, magic rule, storm, and ice laws, I now possess 129 law energies. Now, I should be the king of law, right? Long Fei muttered to himself. The power of 129 Tao principles could be said to be the king of law. However, Long Fei was not satisfied. He wanted to completely control the power of the laws of the 100,000 planes. Moreover, the 129 laws seemed powerful, but they all had one thing in common: they were all under the control of a sovereign. Even if it was the killing principle that Night King had comprehended. Even if it was the time laws left behind by Long Fei's mother and the magic rule, the power of these law energies were all located in the 100,000 dimensions. It was also under the control of a sovereign. The true king of law does not possess many different laws, but one that can be easily used or retracted. Only such a person would be a king of law. If I can fuse the power of these laws together to form the laws of an outer region, then that would be amazing. Long Fei slightly said. He knew in his heart. He wanted to enter the battleground, and he wanted to face the sovereign king. This law energy which he trained in was completely useless to sovereigns. If he wanted to kill a sovereign, he would have to acquire even more power. Otherwise, when the time came, he would use the power of the ancient inheritance S among the dragon-shaped Mark S. Even if he killed a sovereign, he wouldn't be able to protect his own life. Destiny God's death. The main temple was shocked beyond belief again. However, this also made Main Temple, who had initially refused to form an alliance with the evil god Palace, agree to the evil god's alliance request. The sovereign wasn't here. To deal with Long Fei, he had to form an alliance to protect the territory of the battleground. Kill Long Fei first. In another place. In the infernal realm. Destiny God. Before he could stand up in hell, a huge shadow appeared in the sky above him. The shadow looked at him coldly and said, "I heard that you won't forgive my son even if you become a ghost, right?" Destiny God's face sank and immediately knelt on the ground. No, don't kill me, don't kill me. I'm already dead, and I won't be able to harm Long Fei anymore. Don't. He had never dreamed of it. Long Fei's father was the king of hell. He had just died, and didn't have the time to react when Long Zhanting's appearance scared his Sha**T out of him. Long Zhanting said coldly, "You can't do anything even if you can't do any damage, you don't even have to do it like a ghost." Boom. A bolt of purple lightning struck down. Destiny God's ghost turned into a wisp of green smoke and completely disappeared. Not even ghosts. Long Zhanting raised his head to look at the chaos in the sky, and muttered, "Feia, your 100,000 interview battles are about to end. Before it ends, your great calamity is also. Child, you have to hold on. The calamity of the prophecy. Always." Although Long Zhanting, who was somewhere else, had been helping Long Fei this entire time, wanting him to avoid this calamity, but irreversible. There was no way to dodge it. This was what they were most worried about. Because this was a calamity that he might not be able to withstand. It was also the sign that the 100,000 people who failed the interview would be able to pass. If he couldn't pass it, Long Fei will die. Huff. Long Zhanting let out a light breath. Those old fellows from the Dragon Manor. If anything happens to my son, I will never let it go. Long Zhanting's eyes turned sinister, filled with an extremely sharp killing intent. And then, the shadow disappeared. The infernal realm returned to calm. Soul controlling. Long Fei released a bit of his power, as he sensed the countless souls in the 100,000 dimensions, and at the same time, he also felt the souls of those imprisoned under the God's Mountain. Luoshi, 1,000, grandfather, dragon ancestor, all of them had been sensed. Then, Long Fei said, "Jojo, let's make a trip to God's Mountain first." Jojo was slightly moved, and said, "Young master, did you save big sister Luoshi and the rest?" Long Fei nodded and said worriedly, "I wonder if releasing their souls would be able to reconstruct their bodies." Jojo said excitedly, "It's definitely possible." In another place, the void twisted. The sky above the main temple opened up to reveal a door to space and time. A figure slowly walked out. It wasn't fast. However, no one in 100,000 planes was able to reach this level of speed. Next, the 100,000 planes began to tremble violently. In the great hall of the main temple, the gods kneel on the ground, not daring to move, because the sovereign had returned. Thank you for your support. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.